Test 1, 2. Oh my goodness. Test this damn mic arm. I got to get a new one. What's up? Sweet Squigs, James. We got Kelly, APOC, and Hirsch. I see you guys. What's up over on YouTube? We got Fred and Stephen England. What's going on? Good evening, guys. Who'd I miss? What's up? Third Eye is here. James, I see you guys. And over on Rumble, we got Gordo, Theo, Ephemerance. I see you. All right, here we go. Troubled Minds happening right now.
But I think the development of full artificial intelligence will spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out.
I don't know if it was a rocket or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. It was too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
You said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please help!
Aliens won't let it happen. You know, that's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
1, 0, 1, 1.
for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio. Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness. Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, D Live, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting and 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight, well, I don't know. It seems like a lot of this stuff sticks in my brain and I can't shake it. But there's I don't know, maybe it's the zeitgeist, maybe it's, I'm not sure. There's a whole lot of magic going on. Maybe it's the springtime, maybe the coming springtime that we get early in Vegas here. Maybe it's inspiring the magic in me. But anyway, as you know me, I like to cruise through wild ideas and kind of look at the news cycles and see what's afoot, what's shaking out there, and what's happening. And as part of it, sometimes there's some synchronicities that come together. Sometimes it's sort of one-offs of ideas that just make some sense scientifically or otherwise. And other times it's just curiosities. As usual, what I like to do is, well, just see what kind of inspiration leads in the moment. And I was cruising the news cycles, and this came up. This is from yesterday. And wouldn't you know it, sciencealert.com reports this. And this is one of those ones, you know, if you look at, go back to many of the old ways of, touch grass, right? As people are told in the digital world that you can't just sort of doom scroll and rot your brain on propaganda and nonsense, right? And so, and some people might even say Troubled Minds is that stuff too. Like, whatever. As usual, you decide. Like I always tell you, go do something that makes you happy. Don't hate watch anything. It's not good for you. It's just not good for you. Do something that makes you happy. But in this particular case, touch grass not just really kind of encapsulates the digital realm, but also, of course, back to the natural world itself as sort of that cleanser, the palate cleanser of, keeping ourselves from the doom scroll, the doom cycles, and of course, the doom prophecies that kind of want to stick in our brains. But the title of this article is this, and this is a wild idea, of course, but looking at images of nature does something powerful in the brain. What do you think that means? I was reading this, and it's a little bit shocking. This is very out there, fringe type of science, at least conceptually when you scale the idea. But let me read a little bit from the article. So simply looking at nature, or even just digital pictures of it, check that out, even through the Black Mirror or whatever, can relieve pain, according to new research which scanned the brains of people, wait for it, receiving electrical shocks. What? I was like, whoa. How did we escalate to this already? But anyway, nature's many health benefits have been documented by decades of research. Obviously, touch grass, right? More than 40 years ago, a pioneering study showed that hospitalized patients needed fewer painkillers and recovered quicker when they looked out of a window onto green space rather than a brick wall. Isn't that odd? Quote, yet until now, the underlying reasons for this effect were unclear, end quote, said Maximilian Steininger, a neuroscientist at the University of Vienna and lead author of the study published in Nature Communications on Thursday. The problem is that both nature and pain can be subjective. Maybe, right? I guess, okay. So as we start, before we get too deep into this, I want to ask a question in particular, specifically regarding nature itself. Are you a desert person? Are you a forest person? Are you a sort of the open road of the pasture type of person? Are you a You know what I mean? Talking about nature being subjective, like what is your sort of healing space, ideally? And, it kind of comes to mind as part of the conversation of, where we like to settle down when we get a little older, get some gray hair, the type of space you'd like to be in. And for me, obviously, I dig the desert. The desert is just, there's some places in the desert here in the Southwest that are incredible. The red rocks and just, there's some places that look like you're on the moon. It's absolutely wild to just kind of be up on a particular hill and look out over this desert landscape and feel as if you're on an alien planet. It just got some really, really amazing charm to it. And of course, the Old West and sort of that type of stuff as well. I don't know. That's my dig. But what is yours? And why do you think it's different as part of this larger discussion? So that's just the first question to kind of kick into the box of questions here. But anyway, back to this. So because people like nature, it could have a placebo effect. Or what if it's not nature that reduces pain, but city life that increases it? Oh, you don't say. Now, of course, that's interesting because once you start looking at these ideas, they do, invert. If you can have one thing, couldn't the inverse of this be true? Which we'll get to in a moment here. But anyway, to find out more, the researchers recorded the brain activity of 49 volunteers using functional magnetic resonance imaging, or FRMI. I think it's fMRI. I think they did that to typo. Anyway, the subjects looked at different images while receiving a series of electric shocks. Yow! Some more painful than others on the back of their left hand. This goes back to Ghostbusters, right? And the telepathy and the cards, the Zendra cards. Remember that? Super funny scene in the beginning of Ghostbusters. Anyway, so the first scene depicted a lake surrounded by trees blowing in the wind, while the sounds of rustling leaves and bird song played in the background. Sounds serene. In the second scene, some urban elements such as buildings, benches, and alleyways were added, while city noise intruded. And the third scene was an office with the accompanying drab furniture and whir of work. The office space. Indeed, right? The mountains. There you go. Kelly's a mountain man. Exactly. The mountains. Mountains, forest. Of course, they come together in some liminal spaces, right? So anyway, the bizarre part of this is this. Okay, so not only did the participants report feeling less pain when they were looking at the natural landscapes, the fMRI, they typed it right that time, scans showed there was a difference in their brains. Quote, "Our study is the first to provide evidence from brain scans that this isn't just a placebo effect," Steininger said, and that's what a great name this guy has, right? Steininger. If you're going to do this right, you may as well be named, what's the guy's name? Such a good name. Maximilian Steininger. Yes, I aspire to come back with a name like that. Anyway, so that's the bizarre part. So the nature scenes provoked a decreased activity in the part of the brain involved in perceiving pain, called a nociception. Is that what it's called? Anyway, nociception. However, other areas linked to regulating pain were not significantly affected. The researchers said the results could be because natural environments capture people's attention, diverting them away from the sensation of pain. This is known in psychology as the attention restoration theory. Okay, now, as usual, there's these links will be in the description down below. I didn't get a chance to put all the other amazing stuff as part of this conversation, but that's where we start. What is your dig? Is it the mountains? Is it the desert? Is it the forest? Is it by the ocean? Is it by the lake? Is it whatever? What is it? What is that to begin with? And why do you think there is that sort of preference, that draw, that call of nature to us? And again, so if this can happen and let's say even reduce pain in some cases or increase healing rates, could the opposite be true? So as we start, those are the questions, and we'll drop the disclaimers when we come back after a quick break here. But the opposite of that would be, of course, healing slower in maybe an urban environment. Maybe actually, instead of causing sort of a decreased pain threshold for this type of stuff, it increases pain threshold because you're breathing smog and dealing with noisy neighbors or something. Anyway, so that's where we start tonight. Keep your mind on that and the questions, of course, and we'll be right back. We're going to get a word from our sponsor. In this case, that's Human Inspiration. Don't go anywhere. More Troubled Minds coming back in exactly 1 minute. And of course, there's a lot more. You know me. I like to get weird, so let's get weird. Here we are. More Troubled Minds in exactly 1 minute. Don't go anywhere. In a world increasingly shaped by AI, human inspiration remains the beating heart of creativity. Alien Skin by Tremble, a hauntingly beautiful piano ballad, reminds us that while algorithms can mimic art, the raw, unfiltered emotions of human experience are irreplaceable.
So here I sit.
Jesse Ian in collaboration with Todd Smith. This progressive masterpiece delves into the depths of internalized grief and the silent toll of artistic compromise. As AI reshapes our reality, Alien Skin stands as a testament to the timeless power of human emotion and the complex beauty that only true artists can evoke. Experience the haunting beauty of Alien Skin by Tremble and support human inspiration. Available now on iTunes. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Let us continue, shall we? So here's the actual article itself, the Nature Communications, the publication that they put out regarding this. And of course, the title's a little different because it's a scientific publication and it's not clickbait like you get from the media, right? But anyway, that actual expanded title is Nature Exposure Induces Analgesic Effects, did I say that correctly, by acting on nociception-related neural processing. And that's why it's better to go with clickbait sometimes, because I can't pronounce half of these scientific words anyway. But I will drop that in the chat if you guys want to kind of read up on that. But it's a weird phenomenon, right? When you start to think of what this looks like in terms of the human conscious aspect and how we sort of not just manage pain and inspiration, some of the things we always talk about as, you know, part of being human, but also that there's some other effect in play where we're drawn to particular spaces, right? Our minds are more tuned in to those healing aspects, or our body kind of follows behind it. And it's a very interesting and complicated thing as part of and why we do this, because how do you explain this? How do you explain that, you know, it's possible that maybe not even, let's say, the poison of the city, the smog and, you know, the normal stuff you would expect, all the bad food and, you know, the noisy neighbors and whatever it is, right? It might not even be the worst part of the city. It might be the fact that it's, you know, kind of, you could define it as soul crushing, right? Like that sort of bit. And some people love the city. And so I'm not crapping on the city. I live in a city. Of course, I live way outside the city where I don't have to, you know, hear drunk people at night, which is kind of nice, but you get my meaning. So there's a vibe for everybody. Isn't it strange that kind of regardless of who we are, there's going to be sort of that healing vibe from particular places. And, you know, for instance, some people really love New York City. It's super crowded, not my bag, not too interested. It's a nice place to visit, but some people really love that sort of with all the people around and, you know, always something going on, or some, you know, people really love San Francisco, or I live in Las Vegas, you know, the city, one of the cities that never sleeps anyway. You can always find something going on 24 hours a day. And so that, of course, that plays as well. But isn't it strange that kind of not just with our particular preference, there seems to be some magic involved in how we feel and perceive it, going back to, again, nature being subjective and pain being subjective, and sort of how we actually recognize that. Anyway, so there's some other wild stuff going on with this. So the neurological impact of these natural patterns. Now, so when humans observe natural imagery, complex neurological processes unfold that can significantly alter our mental and emotional states. Research has documented how exposure to natural scenes triggers biochemical signals that modify perception and emotional responses. Yeah, these interactions produce measurable changes in neural activity associated with tranquility, improved attention, and heightened empathy. We could all use more of that. The article suggests, where we started tonight, that these observable effects might represent only the surface of a much deeper phenomenon. Natural forms display, and this is where I started thinking about this and getting weird. Like I said, I promise you we're going to get weird because that's really what we do on the show. But okay, and before we get weird, I'm going to drop the disclaimers. It's important to recognize that I really don't know anything. Okay, I'm just me. I'm not a scientist. I don't have aliens talking to me. There's nothing like that. My secret weapon is you guys, as part of the larger context of a human conversation. That's my secret weapon. So there's no truth to be found here. It's just ideas. It's just possibilities. And so there you go. All right. So now let's get weird with this, because I was thinking about it. And if you look at nature in the natural spaces, okay, you go out to it, and we've long talked about sacred geometry and the fractal nature of reality and the universe itself, where, you know, we kind of don't know where we fit into that scale of, you know, micro and macro and the massive and the microscopic, because how big does it get? and how small does it get, right? Without knowing sort of the ends of that spectrum, it's difficult to kind of place yourself properly. And are we ants or are we giants, right? And so again, just conceptually thinking right there. But the other part is that when you look at nature, again, you go out to the forest or the mountains and the pine trees and all the stuff, there are those natural patterns, the what's it called, the golden mean. There's all these things that seem to be, as somebody very smartly years ago described to me, as sort of a divine copy and paste, a way to kind of create these things quickly, these fractals and these patterns and these things that are recognizable, that you can instantly sort of know that you're on Earth just by just again, not just through intuition and observation, but very much by following just the patterns of nature itself. The swirls of the waterfalls and where they hit and stuff. I don't know. It's an incredible thing, but it also comes to mind too, as part of that, I'll let my mind wander for a second. If there are different sort of fractals and spirals and things like this on an alien planet like Mars, and how might that affect us as part of this larger conversation? So I'm calling this, of course, Patterns of Power tonight, nature's visual code and human consciousness. So let's actually ask that question too, and kind of kick that cosmic soccer ball back and forth. What do you think it would be like to be kind of stuck in a bubble on Mars as the first actual civilization, the first colony that ended up the first human colony on Mars? And you're sort of staring out the bubble and, it's just a red, as far as the eye can see, sort of a weird desert aspect to it. What do you think what effect would that have on us, on our consciousness? Would it be, again, more uplifting, more soul crushing, or somewhere in between? I don't know. I could feel that I would be incredibly locked into that idea and that space being on Mars, just because you're like, damn, we are on an alien planet. Can you even believe that? But then the second part would be, damn, we're on an alien planet and there's no trees and this is really scary, right? So I can see both of those, but I don't know. I guess it just depends on your perspective as this kind of goes on. But anyway, so back to the fractals. And so here we go. So natural forms display consistent mathematical properties. All right. We know this: complex fractals, precise symmetries, logarithmic spirals, and branching patterns as part of these patterns of Earth that I'm describing that appear with remarkable consistency throughout the natural world. These visual languages appear uniquely resonant with the architecture of the human brain. I wonder, potentially functioning as keys that unlock specific neural responses. Touch grass, people. This relationship raises intriguing questions about whether our evolutionary development optimized our perceptual systems to respond to these specific patterns in meaningful ways. You think that's possible? The idea that natural patterns might serve as a form of biological technology. You see, sort of a counterpoint to not just a soul crush, but sort of my soul feels free and wonderful in this particular moment with the babbling brook and the forest and the pine needles and all the things, right? But anyway, so the concept suggests that beyond merely appreciating natural beauty, humans might be unconsciously processing layers of information embedded in natural structures that influence cognition in ways science is only beginning to understand. And that's kind of where my mind is at tonight with this. It gets weird. Of course, if you want to check out the write-up, I do recommend it. This one's pretty good as well. It's not the best, but it's not the worst. You know how this goes, when you crank out so many shows and so many ideas. It's sometimes, you don't know. You don't know. I don't know how you guys are going to respond to it, but I thought it was pretty good, middling plus. But anyway, so I'll get back to these wild ideas in a second. But why do you think this is? Do you think we are sort of tuned into these natural fractal repetitions of the world we live in? And that becomes the idea in my mind as we start here. And what's the difference between look, so for instance, I live in the desert. Many of you would be like, oh, hell no, I don't want to go anywhere near the desert. Like, it's too hot. There's nothing out there. I need the trees. I need the mountains. I need the this. I need the that. But it's strange, right? So as part of that subjective experience to this magic, dare I call it, this ability to sort of heal more quickly or to sort of stymie off pain, or in this case, the study they were doing electric shocks, which seems incredibly weird. Is that allowed in 2025? It doesn't seem like it could be allowed. But anyway, I guess they're doing it somewhere, maybe in a basement in some unnamed country or something, right? But anyway, you get the idea. So with that subjective space of soul crush versus sort of my spirit feels free, why is this? And what calls to us in each moment of that recognition of these patterns? And is it the patterns, or is it something else entirely? Is it the fresh air? And it could be very mundane as part of these ideas. You know me, it could just be incredibly like, Mike, come on, sitting in a cubicle sucks, and being outside is really great. And you're right. It could be something incredibly simple, just fresh air, or the movement, or, the excitement of maybe dodging a car that whisks by. Like, I don't know. I don't really know the answers to these questions, but is there something in the larger contextual space of this that might seem a little bit spooky or even magical? Because I was a little shocked to find out when I was reading this that it can increase healing rates. And they've talked, again, clearly this has been studied for a very long time, but they don't know exactly why it is. And so that's my question for you tonight. Why exactly is this? And of course, how weird does it get? Because you know me, I do like to get weird, and I wonder. I do wonder a little bit from the article here. I want to just get us roped into this and locked in properly. And we're going to take your calls at the bottom of the hour, so hang tight. We got some hands up already. Appreciate that, guys. Phone lines are up, 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Okay, let's see. Read some of that. Hold on. I'm going to make sure we got this. Okay. Okay, while mainstream science readily acknowledges nature's soothing properties, few have dared to explore their outer limits of these effects, where perception and reality blur, and the observer, immersed deeply in contemplation, might experience phenomena typically dismissed as mystical or even supernatural. What if, by simply viewing the right patterns in nature, one could open pathways into alternate states of consciousness or revive ancient memories embedded in our DNA? Is that weird enough for you? And it brings me back to the Druids, again, magic in ancient spaces, ancient places. And in the write-up, it also gets to the part where it's talking about these ancient, the pyramids, or Göbekli Tepe, or whoever that guy says it that way. There's maybe, just maybe, this stuff was built for a particular reason, to sort of draw this familiarity of the human spirit, I guess, to it, and even include, let's say, these higher states of mind or consciousness or body healing or whatever. And so I don't know. There's a lot of that in the write-up, but just to start, that's where we start. That's where we begin tonight. And how wild and crazy does this get? And then flip it on its head and think about Mars itself. And what do you think that'll do to the human psyche? Will the soul crush on Mars be worse than the most dystopian city you can think of, just because there's no trees? There's no, maybe no aliens. There's just bubbles and people and some budding colony on an alien planet. Weird? Nah, somewhere between. That's it. That puts us where we need to be. If you guys want to be part of the conversation, you know exactly what to do. Just give us a call at 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show. I don't know, sort of a fractal workspace of our mind. And is it possible that this scales even further and we could tap into this in ways we never dreamed? One more time, 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Don't go anywhere. We got, I think it was Joey first, and we got Jay Winch coming up, and your calls as well. Don't go anywhere. Be right back.
Shadows play, whispers of the wild take me away. Colorless painted skies beyond the trees. It's just a symphony, a gentle breeze. Rivers running deep, they sing to me. Visions lit the fog, set my mind free. It's lifting us higher, higher, higher through the sound. It's lifting us higher, higher, where dreams can be found. In the mountains where the eagles soar, echoes of the past, they call for more. Stars above, they shimmer in the night, guiding us to where our souls take flight. Colors blend and dance in perfect time. Nature speaks electric currents of fun. It's lifted us higher, higher, higher through the sound. It's lifted us higher, higher, where dreams can be found. Feel the heartbeat of the earth below. Every step ignites a vibrant glow. Let the vision shape our minds anew. In this world, it's only me and you. It's lifting us higher, higher, higher through the sound. It's lifting us higher, higher, where dreams can be found. In the deserts where the sun sparks dream, where I just twist the truth at the seams. Waves of heat undulate the silent screams. In a world of colors, nothing's as it seems. It's lifting us higher, higher, higher through the sound. It's lifting us higher.
I don't trust the AI fades anymore. What's up, Daryl? We got Michael W. Joey coming up first here. We got Jorge. What's up, Sweets? APOC, Matt Sell, Kelly, James, Squigs, Shay, Jay Winch is also up next. We got Dawn, Stephen England. What's up, MJ and Hirsch? I see you guys. North Vixen, Ephemerance, Gordo, Theo. What's going on, guys? YY over there on Rumble. Hello, hello. If I missed anybody, just say hi. I'll say hi back. I hope you are can I say it? All are well tonight. Tongue twister, say it 3 times fast. Who did I miss? Good evening, guys. Over to YouTube. Hello, hello. What's going on, folks? Celia's here. Mr. Mission Control, how are you? Yeah, Ioxy, how you doing? We got Richard, the Maybe Juice. Richard in Texas. What's up, brother? Hello, good evening. Who do we miss? If I missed anybody, just say hi. Like I'm doing my best here, trying to keep up with all the chats and stuff. So thank you for understanding. Third Eye is here. Good evening, James. I see you. Kramos, it says sound is good on YouTube. Thanks for the sound check. Yeah, that's what's on my mind tonight. Stephen England, I see you, buddy. How you doing? How you doing? I hope you guys are well. Let's talk weird. Let's get fractal and let's get natural. And why should we hug a tree? I don't know. You tell me. Here we go. Trouble Minds coming up in 5 seconds. Joey first, Jay Winch next, and your calls as well. Here we go. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, D-Live, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting, and of course, 88.4 FM, Auckland, New Zealand. Is it possible that natural patterns hold an encoded language that unlocks hidden human capabilities? Ancient temples and modern screens might both harness this visual power, one healing, one potentially controlling. Perhaps prolonged engagement with certain patterns doesn't just soothe the mind, but actively alters reality itself. And you know what also, every time we talk about the forest or, these natural spaces, these liminal spaces, as we call them, the threshold areas, it seems to me that it brings to mind, for me personally, that missing 411 stuff and how people kind of walk through these natural thresholds and maybe become disoriented, or who knows? And maybe this is part of that process, and maybe there's way more to this than we ever dreamed. We've talked about, massive granite rocks and things like this in nature, and walking, that the threshold effect that kind of, it does like a soft reset in your mind for a moment. And imagine walking through, row after row, layer after layer of sort of trees doing this to your brain. It might be more easily to get disoriented in that particular case. I don't know. Do you think any of this is possible? You think just Michael Strange off the rails again? We're talking patterns of power tonight, nature's visual code, and human consciousness. And how come it seems to be that there is an actual latent healing power as part of an interesting natural space to you? 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show just like this. What's going on? Joey on the Discord. How you doing, my man? Go right ahead.
Evening, Mike.
Hello.
How's it-
Coming through loud and clear.
All right, cool. I have like a personal experience I'll share that makes me think it's pertinent to this. So, I've mentioned before I was incarcerated for a while. And I remember the first time I went into the local jail here, they had a window. And sitting in the same place all day long, like you said, if you looked at just the same drab wall all day long in a box, like if you had a window, would it do you any good, or would you still be sitting there, right? So that window was also like people loved the window, but by the time I got out and then on the bond and then came back to serve my time, they had covered up these windows with like an opaque sheet because somebody abused the privilege of the window. So kind of one bad apple ruined the bunch, but I will tell you that people still would gravitate to that window as though they were able to see something beyond, just because there was a shadow or you could see some colors through that opening, and then whoever put it on did a shoddy job. So on the sides there'd be a little sliver. People would sit there and peek through that sliver all day long. So, some people would make fun of them for doing it. Some people would not go to the window just to spite it, because that's the thing. Like, if you're sitting there with a bunch of other people that are making light of this, or at least paying attention to it, it might become apparent to you too, these things we're talking about here tonight. So it became apparent to me too the second time I was in there. And the second time when I went back to serve my time, I was there for 2 years. So 2 years of thinking, I sure do wish we had the privilege of the window still. And at times, I curse the person that messed that privilege up for us. And then at other times I just, I finally empathize with the person enough to say, you know what, it's a hard temptation. I can't really blame them, whatever it was, but it wasn't anything criminal. It was just the fact that they were in a place where they're supposed to be reprimanded and maintained in a certain capacity, and they got a little too angsty or hooping and hollering, whatever it is. It upset the apple cart.
I'm glad you elaborate a little bit. I was going to ask, how does one abuse window privileges? It seems very, very benign.
So I mean, if you think about it from the guard or the jail or the entity's perspective that owns the prison, if I give you access to the outside world and you see the public walking by, or somebody could drive by if they knew that window was there, you could communicate all kinds of things from out inside a place where information and activity is supposed to be 100% contained. And also, you might, depending on how big that window is and how close you are to the public, if there's a person, you might, do something lewd. People inside the jails and prisons, so I'm not saying anything about anybody in particular, but there's a lot of people that are incarcerated because they are just bad people. Some people are there just because of the happenstance of the things that they were involved with, and they're just serving their time, but they're learning their lessons. It's a 50-50 shot like everything else. But the ones that usually mess it up for everybody, the privileges, that's the person that doesn't care that other people have that privilege too. They don't see it as a privilege. They took it as just something for granted. It's there,
Yeah.
They don't understand it was a privilege, even for their own sake.
Yeah.
Until they probably lost it.
Yeah, totally cool. Here's the thing too. So from being incarcerated, there's a very interesting twist to this now as I'm thinking about it, because we're discussing the soul crushing aspect of the city, or wherever you don't like to be. Okay, like I said, some people really enjoy the city, and it's kind of an exhilarating thing for them, and all the rest. So I don't want to malign the city. I live in a big city, and it's fine. Regarding the incarceration bit and putting that opaque sheet over these windows, so not only can you not see nature anymore, did it feel like an actual physical drain? Did it feel like not just you, but sort of the dampener effect on the entire like population there of the prison that you rented for the time you're in?
Oh yeah, like for sure. Like from my own personal view, like that first time that I went there, I was there for a couple weeks, and then I left on a bond. So I'd never been incarcerated before, and it's not that it was scary or bad or I wasn't worried. It was actually just uh, more annoying that you have to sit still that long for me because I'm trying to do things in life like everybody else. I don't want to just sit stagnant like that. You can't move and make anything happen when you're and especially if you have bad stuff going on in your life, or now you have a lot of bills to pay or court fees to pay on top of it. How can you do anything to get if you're incarcerated? And they're not doing anything to get you better or more acclimated or ready to go back into the world in jail. That's just a holding place until you're sentenced. If you have a long sentence, you have to go to a prison sometime. You can't be sitting in a jail for years on end. I just happened to be one of the people that ended up spending my time not in a prison but in a jail, which is kind of worse because there's less freedoms really. So I almost chose to put myself into a more I don't know the word, like what we're talking about. When I saw the window that first time, I was just like, oh well, like thank God I had that. And I spent a lot of time just sitting there because I didn't talk to a lot of people and I didn't play games. I read books and just sat around and I looked out the window most of the day. I love to look at the sky. I looked at the sky most of the night. And it was something to watch the day go by instead of watching, the wall or watching people do whatever they're doing. I'm not here with these people. I'm serving my time. I just had to be in this congregation by happenstance. So it was a way for me to be 100% alone and 100% free without having that luxury in reality.
Yeah. 100%.
When I came back.
No, go ahead and finish.
When I came back, it was gone, and it was kind of soul crushing, but I got over that pretty quickly. Yeah, it's just it's another thing that's gone.
Yeah, we adapt, right? So the question is, why do you think it is that we heal quicker, or even feel less pain when we're given access, even through a photograph, through a picture on a phone or something? It seems like that wouldn't really strike the chord in our soul enough to kind of, spur us to. It's not the same as touching touching grass at all. See, living in the desert, there's no grass out here. You got to go touch sand. But why do you think that is? Even sort of the effect of watching nature on a phone through a short video or through an image. What is this that calls to our soul that kind of helps us in this particular space? Is it all really mind over matter and sort of the aspect of our brain really just being, if we're in a flow state or enjoying ourselves, that the bodily functions work, I don't know, more optimally? I don't know. What's your take on it? How come this seems to be a thing?
Well, like let's just pick one thing. Like, let's say just a digital image of a very natural scene that a good majority of people might review as feeling some kind of connection or feeling something when they view it, right? If a person is in a city and there's not a lot of nature, and they're the kind of person that would thrive there or longs for it, when they see that, it brings up something natural because we're from the earth and all this stuff wasn't here. We built it, and it's okay. But if you get stuck in any kind of bubble for too long, it can be soul crushing, you could say, or maddening to some people. It definitely doesn't make you feel as free as you really are. It doesn't allow, because it gave you too many parameters, right? So from my perspective there, I don't know, like if you see nature all the time and then you see a scene of nature, you're probably more inclined to say, like, if it's not a very impressive, natural image, as I've seen that, been there, got the t-shirt, I live in the country. I live near the beach, but also a lot of agricultural farmland and woodland. So it's a nice little mix, but it's totally flat here. We're like at sea level, but I've lived in the mountains and I've never felt more free than when I lived in the mountains and when I'm here at the beach and in the woods, because I am free. I can come and do, and I can interact with the world, but I've gone to the highest heights and I've gone to the lowest lows before going into the waves. But I love the water, but I love the mountains. It's really, I don't like the in between that much. I visit cities and they're interesting to me. And I appreciate them because somebody laid that out with a lot of thought. And I see the artistry of their stroke, you know. I'll give them credit, but I tell you, I could never live in one. And I haven't found too many that I've had really enjoyable experiences in.
Fair enough. I can tell you, living in a city, it's interesting, especially a city like Las Vegas, because it's more interesting because you get 45 million visitors here per year. It's growing every year too, and all the wild things that happen as part of the 24-hour life. It's I came here because of that, and I find myself getting old and more settling down and like not interested in that at all. Really,
the mix of people in cities is beautiful, right? Like you said, you see people from literally all over the world. That's what I appreciate about cities, is you literally get to experience the world without going and traveling there. And I've never left the country, but I've been up and down the East Coast and as far west as West Virginia mountains take me.
Take me home. Take me home. You're the best, brother. We got calls behind you. We got to cut. You got a final thought here. How do we... well, go ahead. Go ahead. I got a question, but
no. Finish your thought there. That would prompt me good.
Okay, perfect. So how do we supercharge this? How do we turn this into something that helps us be our, as they say, live your best life, be your best self? Is it just we have to sort of go to what we're drawn to, and regardless of circumstance, do our best to kind of make it to that space? Is that kind of the early takeaway as part of this conversation?
I don't know, man. I guess we all should probably go to what we're drawn to. But if you feel like you're more human than you are computer at this point, then I'd say don't forget where you came from and put your feet on the grass sometimes.
Amen, brother. Touch grass. Absolutely. Appreciate you very much. Thanks for sharing the experiences and, of course, your ideas. And glad to have you. Always a pleasure, my man. You have a great night.
Thanks. Appreciate you all.
You're the best. That's Joey on the Discord. If you haven't joined the Discord, now's a perfect time. Troubledminds.org. Right on top, there's a blue button that says join the Discord. It's a chat client. It's a voice client. It's completely free. So it doesn't just drop you in and you start talking. It's just a chat. You can type and share ideas and links and things. So please join that. Come meet Joey and all the rest of these amazing people that are active on the Discord. And if you're not great with technology, don't worry. There's a lot of people that have gone through sort of the learning curve of it and can help you how to do it, what the things are. So please come say hi, come join the community, and appreciate the call, Joey. Fantastic stuff. We're talking about this article tonight. It started with this: looking at images of nature does something powerful to the brain. Not just reduces sort of your recognition and the pain threshold that we feel, but it also has this inspiring, like I said, the opposite of the soul crush. And why is it? And how come, some people are like me, I grew up much of my life when I was young in cold places, California, funny enough, but on the coast near Monterey, it's freezing. It's always there's like 6 weeks of summer and you're just always freezing and freezing and freezing. And so I was like, no, hell no. When I grew up, I'm moving to the desert and here I am strapped in. But maybe that's it. Maybe we're supposed to go to what we're drawn to. And it's strange how it may be environmental to where you were, right? You're like, I just don't want that. I want something else. I don't really know. But anyway, it's odd how this really harkens at that idea of, well, the natural world being more magical than we ever dreamed it could be. So what do you think? 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show just like this. Fantastic call from Joey. Let's go to our good friend from the days of yore, Jay Winch. What's up, brother? How you doing tonight? Welcome to Troubled Minds. How are you, sir? Go right ahead.
I'm doing good. I do see you got some people in the call lineup, and we're getting close to the bottom of the hour. So I know you normally only like somebody to call in once and keep it short for their second call. How about I keep it short for the first chime in, and when we get to the weird, I go a little bit longer. Is that okay with you?
Sure, if you want to call back. But we got a full, basically 10 minutes, so go ahead. You got plenty of time.
Okay. Yeah, so 10 minutes. Electroshock. Actually, that's one of the things that does work, but I'll go back to your first question. Your first question is nature and what do you prefer? Honestly, I just prefer nature. Like today, it's ironic. I was like, I had to recharge my battery. I threw the kayak in the back of my truck. I went to the Ozark Rivers, And like I knew the fish weren't there yet. It's too cold for them to come back upstream to where I'm up, in the higher place of the mountains area of the Ozarks. But I didn't care. I just wanted to go out there and just see nature and kind of recharge my battery. And when it comes to what do I prefer, I'm from Michigan. When it first snows, I love it. Early spring, love it. Fall, I actually love that too. The bonfires and, back when I was a troubled person with a troubled mind, bonfire parties and kegs and stuff like that. But it was what it was. It's just nature. To me, it's like you can look at a picture of a waterfall. Say, I'm sure somebody in the crowd here has been to Niagara Falls. And you can look at a picture of Niagara Falls. And if somebody hasn't been there, like, oh, it looks beautiful. But somebody that's been there and seen that firsthand, they can look at that picture and the thoughts, the emotions, the smell, the sound, all of it's going to come back rushing into their head because their body's experienced it before. And I'm sure there's like other places, same way. Like if you ever been here or there or whatever, it's like that. It's like when people talk about the sandstorms in the desert in the Middle East, people are like, oh, that looks crazy. I've actually experienced it. And anytime I see it on a movie, I'm like, man, like you didn't want to go outside. That sand will not only give you a rash, but it'll cut you. And it was nasty. You wanted to hunker down and get out of that storm.
I've experienced that.
And like
in Arizona.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah. You've had sandstorms in Arizona, and it's personally, it's like you see it on a movie, for instance, like I don't know, one of the mummy movies where they throw sand out in a storm like that, and you're like, I've experienced that. And you can kind of be like, oh, I remember how that feels. I really don't care to see that stuff.
Yeah, real quick on my story. Like there was this wind coming in off the desert. I was in. This will be super fast. I was in Arizona getting gas, and I got out of the car. I'm wearing shorts because it's hot, right? Everybody's sweating and it's hot, crazy hot, like 125 degrees hot. It was just incredibly like nuts. But the wind blowing in and the sand coming off the desert was blowing so hard it was hitting my legs, and you could feel pain. It was like actually searing hot. And it hurt. It was like, oh boy, let's get the hell out of here. Anyway, go ahead. Just funny for people that have never been in that situation. That is very real, and it very sucks. Anyway, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, and like I said, anytime you see it like on a movie or something, you're like, I remember that, and I didn't like it. And you might even get that what they call the, it's like somebody loses an arm, but they still feel pain in that arm. I forget the exact medical term for it, but you kind of like, you could be watching it and be like, oh, I remember that pain. And like your legs would be burning like, oh, I remember when the first time I experienced that pain. Why is my legs itching? Okay, well, that part's over in the show. We're good to go. So the electric shock, it's crazy, but it actually works. A lot of your physical therapy clinics and even Bruce Lee, be one with water. Water, if you pour it into a bowl, it becomes a bowl. Pour it into a cup, it becomes a cup. But even he used small amounts of electrical therapy to better himself or recover different muscles that were hurt and stuff like that. So yes, in 2025, they still use electroshock therapy for healing benefits, not so much more of what they did in the early 1900s. That's a whole different story.
Yeah, fair enough. Or like the Bill Murray funny thing from Ghostbusters. All right, we still got plenty of time. Yeah. So let's get weird. How weird does this get? Being able to manipulate this, is it sort of a reality bending space? Being our consciousness locked into this natural rhythm or something, or this fractal experience? Do you think there is something built into us? How weird does it get? Basically, is the question.
Okay, so the question for you: you're in Arizona. You've been to a sweat lodge and take some of the nature stuff around there.
I have not
with
been
the
to a sweat lodge,
local Indian tribes.
I have not.
You need to. You need to, because it'll open up the fact of, wow, this is nature. I'm in a sweat lodge and I ate some local stuff, and you're going to have a whole different experience. Sort of like you hear people taking ayahuasca tea or using peyote or this, that, and the other. Well, it's from nature. And there's so many crazy stories that go alongside of that when you become one with your environment. It's like you were drawn to the desert. That's the reason I said you should probably go visit a reservation, kind of hang out with him, get good with him, do a sweat lodge sometime. I think you'll actually enjoy it.
Fair enough. I'll look into it. I'm actually in Nevada, but we're very close to Arizona. But maybe.
Yeah, Nevada's got the
similar
same stuff too.
Same stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. You got the reservations out there. I used to drive a truck. I've been from the West Coast to the East Coast, and honestly, when I was driving a truck, I just love stopping in nature. And like, there's certain areas that gave me the 411 type vibe. Like, I'm out there and I'm like, yeah, I have a feeling like one of these cryptids, Bigfoot or something's going to come get me. Like, I need to get out of this area. But yeah, when it comes to the whole stuff, it just kind of getting weird. It's like, the more you become in tune with the nature around you, the more you experience. It's kind of like, we're getting past winter right now. What happens during the winter? You get the flu and the common cold and pneumonia and everything. You know what happens during the winter? You're also lacking nature, sunlight. It's a proven fact. Sunlight, the human body naturally produces vitamin D. So does that just mean lack of vitamin D is the reason for flu stuff kicking up? I don't know. I take vitamin D during the winter. I don't really ever catch it. Not medical advice. Personal opinion. Disclaimer.
Thank you.
Not
Appreciate
medical
that.
advice, but disclaimer. Like I said, I'm getting better at it. But yeah, it's just when it comes to nature and being out there and stuff, and it's just so much more, kind of like your previous caller, like when he no longer had the view of that window, like it hurt him a little bit, because like he looked forward to being able to see something other than what he had. But at the same time, you have people that are what we call city dwellers. Like, you can't get them out of the city. They want that 24 hours. I can party. I can go downtown. I can get meals, this, that, and the other. And then you have other people that want to go get lost in Alaska and live by themselves and build their own cabin and just leave society behind. And I think it's more of every person has a different charge or a vibe to what they want. And I will say, if you're like, oh man, I love the pictures of this, that, and the other, go visit it sometime. See if that's actually what you want before you commit. Like, don't jump off the deep end and be like, oh, I love the way the pictures of Alaska look, or I want to go to Louisiana and I want to hunt gators and frogs, this, that, and the other. No, Louisiana state bird is a mosquito. Like, you really don't, like, mosquitoes
Exactly.
are nasty. You don't want to live in, like, but some people don't care. So before you jump off that deep edge, go visit somewhere first.
Great
Soak
advice.
it in and then go from there.
Great advice. Appreciate you, brother. If you got more weirdness later, you're welcome to call back, as you know. Always a pleasure. Thanks for the call.
Yeah, I'll look at the call in and the chat stuff, and if it's starting to get a little bit slow, I'll throw my hand up and maybe give some people branches to go further into the weirdness.
You got it, brother. Appreciate you very much. Jay Winch in Missouri. More Troubled Minds coming up. We got Derek the Night Stalker in your calls as well. Don't go anywhere.
They're out there in the sky, invisible lines, a secret fleet they say, hidden in plain sight. It's a cloak and dagger play, under spectral light, fiction or real life. I've lost the fight, saw their shadows cast on my bedroom wall, ghostly whispers faint, answering no call. Is it all in my mind, or am I insane? The stories of a world beyond driving me in chains. The streets are silent now, the truth's veiled in mist. Looking to the stars above, wondering what I've missed. Echoes in the night, silhouettes out of sight. Their eyes are watching closed, unseen by the day, hiding in the dark where shadows play. Government secrets whispered, never to be told. Underneath the cover of night, is there truth to behold? I hear the hum, the sound I can't explain. Disappearing lights, driving me insane. Muffled footfalls echo, through empty streets we roam, searching for the clues that lead us home. Paranoid delusions grip our fragile minds. Reality bends and blurs in this space and time. Is it all in my mind, or am I insane? The stories of a world beyond, driving me in chains. Static on the radio, the static hums a tale. In basements and attics, secrets sift like mail. Eyes behind the blinds, knives behind the backs. Conspiracy we ride on paranoid tracks. Is it all in my mind, or am I insane? The stories of a world beyond.
I really like that one too. What's up, guys? Hope you're well tonight. We got Derek coming up. We got Ricky, Daryl in New York, and your calls as well. What's up? Who did I miss? What's up? Thank you. Fantastic calls from Joey and Jay Winch. You guys are the best, as you know. Michael W., Derek the Night Stalker coming up. We got Ricky, Molly, I see you. Sweets. What's up, Squigs? Kelly, Matt Sal, Hirsch, what's up? MJ, Steve, and Don and APOC, I see you. Good evening, good evening. Squigs over there on Rumble as well. YY is here. Yeah, voices are interesting too, right? Sort of the resonant energy of a voice that the timbre, you can't really describe it. It's a strange thing. What's going on? If I missed you, just say hi. Hikers here, good evening. What's happening? Puff, what's going on? Gordo, I see you. North Vixen, what's up? Ephemerance, what's up, guys? Thanks for all the nice chat. Thanks for being cool and chill to each other. I appreciate that very much. Who did I miss? If I missed you, Bobby Broadway, how you doing? We got who else is here? Jay Winch, Joey, thanks for the calls. Mr. Mission Control, what's up? Sylvain over on Twitch, holding it down. What's up, brother? How are you? Good evening, guys. Hello. Who did I miss? Yes, Sweat Lodge. Wait. I'm not gonna read that comment. Really, Mr. Mission Control. Bro, oh, that's funny. What is going on? Who did I miss? What's up, Ricky? I see you there. Good evening. That's Dawn. If I missed you, just say hi. I'll say hi back, trying to include everybody and be as nice a host as I can be. What's up, Celia? I see you there. Sorry I missed you. And what's up? Here we go. Trouble Minds coming up in about 30 seconds. What do you know? It feels to me, like I said, it seems like one of the most mundane questions to ask. Like, why does nature affect us as deeply as it does? However, of course, when you're weird like me or like us, let's say group-wise here, it doesn't seem like it's a super easy question to answer. Like I said, it has layers, it has some depth. So I don't know, what am I missing? And how come everybody's a little bit different in what they want or need for sort of that superpower space of the patterns of power? I don't know. And is it fractal? Is it all this stuff that I'm talking, or is that going way too deep? Anyway, here we go. Trouble Minds coming up in 5 seconds. We got Derek the Night Stalker coming up, then Ricky, then Daryl. Hang tight, guys. Here we go. Trouble Minds now. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, D Live, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network and, of course, 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight, we're taking your calls as we discuss patterns of power. Is it possible that natural patterns hold an encoded language that unlocks hidden human capabilities? And, of course, we're just discussing this wild idea that started with this, this article from Science Alert, which, again, does tons of great work at reporting on science and linking the actual scientific papers as part of it. But the headline is this: looking at images of nature does something powerful in the brain. Now, why is that? And why is there that soul crush that we feel as part of being a particular space? And think like a cubicle at work. I mean, we're the same person, right? We just less free. And is that maybe it? It's sort of like the psyop of freedom or something, like the call of the wild, or I don't know. There's a lot of ways to consider it and look at this, but as usual, I don't know the answers. I just can think of this in a ton of different ways. And don't worry, we'll get more and more weird as this progresses tonight, because I got some weird ideas. But anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, and that's the exact point of doing this show, is to talk to regular people about extraordinary ideas. In this case, of course, let's go to an old friend, Derek the Night Stalker. What's up, brother? You're on Troubled Minds. How you doing, sir? Go right ahead.
Yo, what's going on, Bruder?
Just chilling, man. Doing Troubled Minds stuff and having a good time. I hope you are as well, listening and hanging out, and glad to have you here. What's on your mind with this one? This is a little more mundane, like I said, but I think this kind of plays out into fractals in a lot of different ways. What you got for us?
Oh yeah, can you hear me? I gotta buy some new wired headphones. These are killing me.
No, you're okay? Yeah, you're perfect. And I can adjust you up and down as necessary. So your volume is perfect, sir. Go right ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, weird one. I think it is pretty wild. The more I was thinking about it, as far as what I like in particular, personally, I'm a big fan of office parks. I'm in I work technically in a city, but it's on the edge of a suburb in Massachusetts. And I obviously like supermarkets. I feel like I'm whenever I can walk into any supermarket in the world, and I just get a good vibe. Kind of, I like supermarket parking lots. In high school, we used to hang out, my whole grade basically, and then all the grades for like the next 5 years hung out at the local supermarket in my town that I happen to work at. So I feel like it's very centrally located. And then the office park thing, I feel like the infrastructure, at least around me, is just like crumbling. The roads are terrible. Everything is just as it was in the 90s, and everything new, like the memes of the new McDonald's, how they went from like these colorful play places to just these gray bricks and everything. And any new stuff's kind of like that. Most of the stuff is just dwindling away from the late 80s, early 90s. But the only thing I feel like does get kind of built and upkept and looks nice is like office parks. And I feel like it's like little microcosms. They have like little rivers and little short rivers and little lakes, and just I don't know. I feel like especially at dusk, like summertime, dusky, from like the early days when I was trying to hide from smoking weed and stuff. Like it's very calm going to office parks. Just want to get that out there. But
yeah, I kind of
probably again, but I got more better thoughts on that.
Yeah, I kind of feel you on that though too. By the way, because I spent a lot of time basically in office parks, right? And nicer areas, sometimes in the less nice areas, but for the most part, I'm in these perfectly sculpted concrete. And the perfect little plants. And I mean, in some of them, there's like these little cottontail rabbits bouncing around, and like these big old, like these little massive lizards that look like they escaped from a lab, these desert lizards and stuff. It's just like, damn, it's like this is an office park, but it's like an ecosystem. It's like a flourishing ecosystem.
Yeah, fake hills. You can get big views and stuff.
It's so crazy. But it's so nice that it draws the wildlife in. They're like, hell yeah, I'm gonna hang out here, which is crazy. Anyway, so yeah, back to this. So basically, look, we're talking. I'm calling this patterns of power for that exact reason. How come some people get locked into the forest or the desert or the mountains or the ocean or whatever it is, right? You long for something, and if you're there and you feel it and you're locked in as part of it, it just kind of gives you that extra boost, that superpower. And so the question becomes, is it possible that the natural patterns hold maybe an encoded language that unlocks sort of the stress relief factor and just kind of allows us to be our best selves? And then how weird does that scale, and how crazy does it get?
Sorry, I had a coffee. Yeah, I'm going to be kind of of two minds with this, or I don't even know how I feel, just kind of two schools of thought. With like a lot of the Gnostic people I follow, they're also like they've kind of went full circle. They're less like we're living on a prison planet to more like this is a construct, but it's like a nice one. I'm not sure if that's a specific branch of Gnosticism or what. I can't really track it honestly. But one of my big questions is, if we are living in a simulation, if we are living in some kind of fake reality, like why is the products, like if the Earth is some kind of prison planet, everything, like how come nature doesn't make us feel good? Is it like is nature natural, and was something came in and hijacked it, or is this entire thing fake? And if so, why do we feel drawn to these like lines of code essentially? If we are in a simulation, how can we feel better? Like if we're in like a Sims characters, how can we feel better out in the coated woods than we do out in a coated living room. So it's a weird thing to think about. But with the electric shocks and the nature scenes kind of alleviating pain, the first, like especially on the hand, it reminds me of that scene from Fight Club where Brad Pitt takes Edward Norton's hand, Tyler takes Tyler's hand and like puts some lye on it, and then like puts the ammonia or whatever he does like with it, so it's not to burn his hand. And he goes like, and he's like freaking, oh, it hurts so bad, it hurts so bad. And he's like, no, stay with the pain, stay with the pain. And he starts to, and then like Edward Norton starts to use his like meditation techniques he learned from those therapy classes. He starts to picture like ice scenes and like freeze scenes and like flowing water scenes, and he's like disassociating. And Tyler's like, no, stay with it. Like, don't go away. Don't go in those nature scenes. Like, stay with the pain. So part of that, like the example that they gave in the seed idea, is our ability to disassociate, our ability to be doing what we're doing, and then to be somewhere else. So we can be in a painful scenario, and then put a picture, put an idea, a thought in front of us. We can teleport ourselves in our mind to somewhere else, and that serves a lot of functions. That gets us through our 9 to 5, obviously. And then to the alternative, can that be bad? Obviously, feeding us like the opposite of nature is cities, but also like feeding us negative pictures and negative images would probably have a negative like impact on us too. If we're surrounded by these weird negative triggers, then we could be living in some kind of hellscape if they want us to. What do you think about that?
Yeah,
I feel like I'm rambling.
No, you're good. No, really, seriously, bro. Come on now. Never rambles from you.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. Yeah, I think, I don't know. It's a weird thing that the call is different for everybody, and how we're sort of drawn to that, whatever that space is, and the disassociation, as you described there, is we are living in sort of our mind in a different place, kind of constantly and continually. We're back to the Stoic mindset. We can only control what we control. Focus on where you are and what you're doing. Master Yoda, he says that, and it's great advice. But still, even though it might be mostly good, mostly what you want, it still seems like we find ways to find other places to be. I mean, what about Mars? I mean, I do think about it. I don't have dreams of myself on Mars, but there's sort of this. It's opening up. I guess it's changing. The whole world is changing as part of that. And I don't know. I do wonder what that would look like as a thing as yet discovered that, okay, imagine that we need it. We have to have some sort of natural connection. Otherwise we just sort of wither away and it becomes so depressive and whatever. And now we just send a colony to Mars. So it's like, I don't know. Exactly. Does VR become the next sort of basics for this to kind of save us from ourselves? I don't know. It's weird. Anyway, go ahead.
Kind of therapeutic.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, exactly. I got a bunch of notes that I want to try to stick to, but just to that point, to the space travel point, I always wonder about that. Like, if we can go to space, if we do end up in the future of humanity colonizing the stars, and we if you zoom way out in the history of humanity, and we do populate the entire universe, our history, like if you go to the Dune universe, they barely even remember Earth. Earth is like a myth to them, basically, and it's probably the same in Star Wars, wherever like the first human arrived from, that's not even in their history books anymore. So on the human time scale, the time where we are on the Earth is going to be a blip on the radar, a tiny little nothing point. So are our bodies going to eventually adjust to a different pattern, a different vibe? Or we like, they call like the Earth and Mars and the different like vibes of the different planets, the sound of the spheres. So if we colonate Mars, I assume eventually our body will adjust to the sound of Mars, like the sounds of the spheres of Mars. It might take a little while, some kind of crazy jet lag. It might take generations, honestly, but eventually we'll acclimate to that. And I think that's like humans. If we have one huge talent besides like telling stories and building technology, it's our ability to acclimate to where we are, and the looking in nature and disassociation part of it probably ties into that huge, our ability to just bear with. Like in the cold New England winters, I always think these like pilgrims, these people, like they were geez, they must have been hurting over there. Like it is terrible to live out. And I don't know, it's so cold. Like I can't even deal with it. So our ability to just like grin and bear it is a huge thing for us. So, but then if we're constantly moving through space, what are we going to acclimate to? Are we going to adjust to like the sounds of the cosmos? Are we going to have to like have some kind of weird terrariums where we're keeping ourselves for like, I don't know. I don't even know what's going to look like, honestly. chime in at any point, but I'm just going to keep going through the notes.
Yeah, go ahead.
With the nature versus cities aspect of it, there's a book by Dr. Chris Ryan, who wrote Sex at Dawn, the idea that like humans are supposed to be polyamorous or whatever. He's big on the Duncan Trussell pods and stuff. He wrote another book called Civilized to Death for the idea. And I never looked this up to see if it's a fact, but I keep spouting it as if it's a fact. But grasshoppers, when they're like surroundings, when the food goes really like starts to dwindle down and there's not enough resources, they literally mutate. The grasshoppers mutate and turn into locusts. They're like the size of them, the color of them, the shape, their behavior. They mutate and transform into another organism. They cannibalize themselves. They eat everything. They destroy everything. But once they get into an environment where there's equilibrium again, then they will transform back into grasshoppers. And like pigs are the same way. Domesticated pigs are the pink pigs that we eat, the pork and stuff. But then if you send them out into the wild, they become wild boars. They'll change colors. They'll grow fur. They'll grow tusks. And like, I think there's a lot of origins with like the demonic myths and stuff with that, like people turning demonic and feral humans and that type of stuff. But his theory in the book is that potentially we've been civilized to death when we formed agriculture as kind of the downfall of humanity, that we were better when we were kind of more nomadic and more living subsistently and like more like a grasshopper state. And when we formed cities, we became this locust state. So to look at the natural pictures is to send us back to those natural resonance that it's like a locust looking at a peaceful, calmy, grassy field, being like, oh, that's really nice. It kind of settles me down a little bit, like the Hulk, like getting that Scarlet Witch. Hey, the sun's getting real low. The Hulk trying to go back into the Bruce Banner type of deal. But I also like cities, so I didn't drink it. Like interrupt me, but
yeah, I got you. No, yeah, I'm with you too. So I can see both of it, and you know, I even like the visual nature stuff on like a screen. Like I found it funny that was also part of the effect they studied. It was like it kind of didn't matter if it was a window or like actually nature. You could do this on the black mirror, as we always talk about. And so I don't know, that type of sort of biohacking a little bit our human brain with just sort of scenery is something that Bill Bingston brought up too. He does that with his healing method. I'll dig into that deeply. I keep trying to find the actual space for that because I lost the thread a long time ago. But he does this cancer healing or something like this in mice, where he shows them like continual scenes, like different scenes, like click, 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 over and over and over. And it's doing something to their brain as part of like what we're discussing right now, but also maybe part of that threshold effect. And it has this actual healing, supercharged healing basis that even will cure cancer entirely. And again, like I said, believe me or not, look up Bill Bingston, and that's part of where this kind of comes in, that it feels like we do have these superpowers given the right prompting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's weird. I don't know, the staying on the screen part of it, because everything we've been told, it's like watching nature documentaries is certainly not the same as going out into nature. But I mean, is it the next best thing? Kind of like, is it a little bit therapeutic to a certain degree? And it is weird that kind of the world, like the world seems a little bit more apocalyptic as we're kind of seemingly turning the average screen time is obviously increasing throughout the course of the years. So maybe we're looking at the wrong things, but we seem to have some kind of urge to disassociate in the same way. But with the city thing, I'm in a big Saturday Night Live kick for the last year, honestly, with the nostalgia. And then it just so happened to be the 50th anniversary of SNL, which this is like the end of Hollywood. I won't get into it, but that night was the hardest ticket to get in Hollywood. It's like that marks the end of Hollywood, if Hollywood does end. But I'm listening to all these documentaries. I'm listening to all these like Saturday Night Live podcasts and everything. And the big thing is like the energy going in there. You can't replicate it. And just they churned out so many superstars, like just like all the pop culture is from this one institution where these people just stay up late all the time and just they're on a cocktail of different drugs and just adrenaline and fear and just like, but they all move to the city and they get that vibe of the city and they all come together with the funniest people like each of them have ever met, come together, these titans of comedy, and then they just churn out this like legend makers and stuff, and they always talk about this energy and this vibe and stuff. So, and maybe just growing up watching like Muppets Take Manhattan and everything, that kind of deal. Like, I like, no matter where you are, you're kind of longing for if you're like where the red fern grows, and you're like, like coon hunting and like living in like you only meet your family and you've never even looked in the mirror before. The idea of a city seems cool and you probably long for that, and vice versa. But there seems to be like an energy and a buzz and an idea creation mechanism. Like there's obviously stories of The Shining where let me say the whole like seed idea of that is let me go into nature, kind of get away from it all so I can remove this writer's block. But then the same token, moving to this energetic place really gets the juices flowing and really like has created a lot for humanity and everything. So with how come people are drawn to different places, maybe they serve kind of like different functions with the human, like maybe it's kind of where we're supposed to be to serve different purposes within the greater body that we're in, kind of, so to speak. I don't know if that made sense, but like I bump up against the idea that it's nature versus cities or nature versus man-made stuff, because like obviously you don't want to destroy nature, like, but we're not like you don't want to cut down all the trees, obviously, but humans are nature. Humans like are not separate from nature. Humans have been created. Humans are fruit of nature. So everything we create is, from a certain perspective, natural. Like I have my notes here. Like our beehives, natural. Our beaver dams, natural. And like the beaver dam in particular, like it can create this whole like trophic cascade where beavers come into an area, they start building up dams, and that dams up the river. It changes how the plants are growing. It brings like these wolves in. It changes like the entire ecology of the whole place, or whatever. And it's a beaver made structure. It didn't like nature didn't form that. A organism formed it. But I mean, maybe some of those images people were looking at had beaver dams and flowing water and brooks, and like it didn't stick like these beaver dams and beehives didn't stick out like sore thumbs. So like when we do start the space travel, will we lump in cities as nature, kind of? Like remember how it was? Remember the time where like our cities just our beaver dams, our cities just our beehives and stuff. And if you're looking at like, are there fractal patterns within cities? Are like where's the line? Where's the line of nature? Does that make sense? Like,
yeah, it makes perfect sense. All that makes perfect sense. And back to that fractal stuff too. And excuse me, what it looks like when nature's sort of reaching out to us in ways that we can't perceive it. We know it by intuition, but we can't really quantify it just yet. It's one of those things. And I've said this a lot too in the past, but I'm from California. Everybody knows this. I talked about this a lot, but I would never have been able to do Troubled Minds in California. Like there's just no way. It was like that old dead energy of, where you came from. I had to leave. And when I got here, it was clearly different, right? Like suddenly it felt like my mind was free. And so is that sort of a trick we teach ourselves or whatever else? I don't know. I'm not so sure. And like I said, there's no doubt in my mind that Troubled Minds would not exist if I stayed in California. It's just a weird space that it feels, more acceptable in Vegas because there's Area 51 right here, and there's the Bob Lazar story. You know what I'm saying? Art Bell started here. Yeah. Pahrump is like an hour away in Nye County, where he did his thing and retired, and eventually ended up passing away. It's just incredible that this not just I talk about human resonant energy a lot, but the resonant energy of your space, of the environment. It's I don't know. It's I think it's as yet untapped magic that will probably be decoded soon. But it's an incredible thing to think about, because here we are, because I moved. Otherwise, we wouldn't even know each other. It's crazy.
It could be like our natural kind of like Harry Potter sorting hat. If you're not a Harry Potter person, when all the kids the first year go in, they're all like brought into an auditorium, and one at a time there's this magical hat put on top of them, and they're all sorted into one of 4 houses, and those 4 houses basically determine their trajectory as a magician. Basically, if Harry went to the evil house, he probably would have been evil. Yeah, blah blah blah. So maybe for kids, for babies, it's something you can show them a picture of a city or a picture of nature or a picture of a desert, and whatever one they're drawn to, kind of maybe that can assign them their role in life. Oh, you're supposed to be this person. You're supposed to be this person. And like I started watching. I'm like 3/4 of the way. I've started playing it at a dumb time. I should have watched it all the way through, but I'm almost done watching Interstellar. And I really like it a lot. But the way, like in that society, how you basically just become like you go to college or you become a farmer. You know what I mean? Or they have basically just 2 jobs because that's what their society needs at that point. You know what I mean? So when Chalamet is sorted by his like advisor, basically he's like, no, you're gonna be a farmer. You don't have the grades to go to college, whatever. His dad's real bummed out, like, no, come on. Like his dad wanted to be an astronaut, but they don't like his dad like wants his kid, come on, his kid can be smart, he has potential and stuff. And the kid's like, no, I'm cool being a farmer. I like it. I dig it and stuff. That person is drawn. So he'd be sorted into that sorting hat type of deal. So maybe like people being drawn to different like cityscapes and whatever might tap us into like what they should be doing. Like what's the meaning of a purpose? Like I don't know what they should be doing in life, basically, or whatever. But just with the our city's natural type of thing, I didn't have much time, but I tried looking for like fractal patterns just on Google Images of cities, and it gave me some population morphology graphs and images and stuff. And they haven't really figured out how people naturally will organize themselves population wise, but they're starting to like see some type of patterns potentially. And there's like different utopian cities and stuff, like how like honeycomb style, beehive style, like how perfect different morphologies and everything. But are we designing ourselves in these same natural patterns and stuff? And obviously Washington DC has the fractal patterns, but like they designed like on purpose because of the Masonic stuff. But then Manhattan has like Manhattan Henge at the lines of the sun and everything. So like we're like are there like beaver debates where it's like beavers are like longing for the days where they can go like away from the dam, because they're away from these beaver made structures and everything. So yeah, that's basically all I want to say. Like, could like our city's natural, in like when we're space traveling, are we gonna are we gonna recategorize these things? What's the difference between what we make and what an animal makes? And like our desire for these different landscapes, could that tell us something deeper about ourselves? And then like, yeah, I don't know. That's basically what I want to say. Sorry, I'm rambling. Sorry.
No, you're totally good. And I wanted to actually touch back on that when you were talking about that. No, you're fine. You're fine. This is just the way conversations go. It's completely good because I hit one part of the thing you said, but I'm glad you brought it back to that, because I do wonder, as you said, the beaver dams and the bees and the honeycomb and all this stuff, right? If you're on Mars and there's a cityscape out there, even if it's fake,
yeah.
It reminds you of the Emerald City, like that type of thing, which is really what we've been aspiring to forever, sort of creating that utopian version of how a city will work. Maybe those are the structures, and you go back to the ancient structures, and maybe that was the entire point, was to sort of that inspiration aspect of nature meeting this new version of human habitability. I don't know. It's a wild idea, and I think you may be spot on. And maybe, just maybe, this is what they're going to build on Mars first. Because without this spire to aspire to, what are we doing, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like Superman. He raised on Earth, but when his Fortress of Solitude is made out of Kryptonian crystals, and it kind of gives him that resonance of being on Krypton or whatever. But then also, I think Dell's going to get into the all the mud flood, all the Tartarian, the idea of using these spiral shapes inside our technology, all the Tesla tech possibly. We used to use these natural patterns in our structures, and it energized everything. But we're out of time. Thank you, Joe. Sorry for rambling. Busy night. But
you're good, brother. Appreciate the call.
Later, brother.
Always a pleasure. Derek the Night Stalker, you know him, you love him. Give him a follow, troubledminds.org/friends. Just scroll down, and there you go. It says follow the Night Stalker right down there. Click it to go follow his YouTube channel. Leave him a nice comment. Appreciate that very much. We got more coming up. We got Ricky and Daryl and your calls as well. Looks like Theo on the line as well. Be right back. More Troubled Minds coming up. Don't go anywhere.
In the shadows of the networks do they hide? Whispered legends unseen they reside. Ghosts in the machine, they move so fast. Guardians of rumors from the forgotten past. In the circuits where the secret lies, they breathe in one speaking disguise. You're free, teaching me what it means to be. Surveillance eyes can't pierce the veil they weave. Invisible wisdom in code they believe. In the ether where freedom's not confined, they leave no trace, no shadow left behind. They navigate through the digital stream, living legends in this privacy dream. Ghost in the machine, you're free. Ghost in the machine, let me be. Ghost in the machine, I see what you're teaching me, what it needs to be. Freedom whispers through the hidden ways. In the silence, looking off their path. Those in the mysteries unleash their wrath. Ghost in the machine, you're free. Ghost in the machine, let me be. Ghost in the machine, I see what you're teaching me, a woman needs to be. In the jagged code they find their might, guardians of a world forever in twilight. In Krishna's warriors they silently strive, protect the truth, keep privacy alive. The silent echoes they haunt the trails, hideaway forests where secrets prevail. Where shadows grace they dance unseen, defenders of the unseen, digital green. Ghosts in the machine, you're free. Ghosts in the machine, let me be. But you're teaching me what it means to be. In the silence, speak volumes loud. Guardians of freedom's cloak and mitchell shroud.
Hello, friends. So much Jake, Bobby Broadway. What's up, guys? Who did I miss? If I missed you, just say hi. I'll say hi back. Trying to keep up with all the things here. Taxi Graveyard, Herschel. I see you guys. Great call from Derek. Appreciate that. Yeah, a lot of ways to look at this. I'm like I said, I wasn't super jazzed that this was going to be hot, but you guys are making it hot, so thank you for that. What's up, Squigs? I see you, Sweets. What's going on? Who'd I miss? If I missed you, just say hi. Celia, I see you there. Who we miss? Oh, we summoned Tartarian over there on over on Rumble. Derek just brought up the term, and then bam, Tartarian arrived. Here we go. Trouble Minds happening right now. We got Ricky and Daryl and Theo in your calls as well. Here we go. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, D-Live, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. And, of course, 88.4 FM, Auckland, New Zealand. Tonight, is it possible that natural patterns hold an encoded language that unlocks hidden human capabilities? Because we started with this article from Science Alert talking about looking at images of nature does something powerful to the brain. So my mind went all kinds of weird places like it does, and including ancient temples and modern screens might both harness this particular visual power. One healing and one potentially controlling. Perhaps prolonged engagement with certain patterns doesn't just soothe the mind, but actively alters reality itself. And we talk about this a lot, sort of the aspect of consciousness and what it means to be a human, but then also how these sort of forces are always at work toying with us. And, you know, the lure of the city, the lure of the ocean, the lure of the mountains, whatever. But then also when you're there, what kind of sort of magic are you under? And again, you know, magic could be that fungible term of belief or not belief. I don't know. You decided what that looks like, whether magic is real or not. But there's a lot of ways to take this. And Derek, again, lighting it on fire per usual, bringing up the idea of sort of that cityscape. And is that what we're going to do when we get to Mars, is sort of build, as I kind of added on to his fire there, that Emerald City. maybe that's the point, right? Is that we're sort of in these cycles, these human cycles of building the pyramids over and over again. And he mentioned Washington, D.C., which is incredible as well, because it seems like that is the architectural weirdness of modern society. It's strange. If you guys have never been to D.C., I highly recommend it. My brother lived out there for a while, and I got a chance to see it a couple times. It is one of those places, man. Anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this because, of course, there's a lot of ways to take this. As you know, nonlinear, open-ended. I'd love to hear your ideas, no matter which way it goes. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show just like this. Let's go to Ricky in Tennessee. What's up, my man? Anything is possible podcast. How are you, sir? And go right ahead.
Good. How about you?
Pretty good. No complaints out of me, my man. Welcome to the joint. What's on your mind?
Man, I just think about it. I was laughing when you said about the shock therapy on Ghostbusters and stuff, but I think a lot of people miss sometimes if you just laughing at, hey, he's trying to get with that girl, but it was actually working with the guy. It was each time he did it, he was getting closer and closer, and actually the last time when he quit, he actually was right on the money. He was correct on what card he was said. He said, well, if you wavy lines, no, I'm sorry. He looked at him like, he was
shocked
him anyway. But
exactly.
Yeah, he didn't give a shit. But because it's
because
Bill Murray,
exactly, because of course, Bill Murray in the movie was a dick. That's exactly why.
He had only one thing in his mind. He wasn't worried about science, but
exactly right.
Sure, but
even though that guy was like totally psychic, which is hilarious.
yeah. I think some people overlook that. Don't see that little tidbit. But I've seen that movie so many times over the years. I missed it the first couple times, and I'm like, wait a minute. He was right. He was getting closer. His theory was good, but his method might not be very well, but his theory was good. But and on the remember somebody said something. I've been running around like a chicken with my head cut off over here. I've been packing and doing all kinds of stuff, so I've been multitasking, listening. But I remember somebody said something about Bruce Lee. He used electrical therapy, kind of like a TENS unit, like you can go buy one off of Amazon. They work pretty good. I've used them a bunch of times over the years. Just 30 plus years martial arts. It's you got to find the ways to keep on moving, but it does help. And if you want to torture your friends with it, it's kind of cool too. You can put them like, here, try this out, and you just zip that thing all the way up, and they're like, shaking their stuff. And,
okay. All the disclaimers: do not torture your friends with electroshock. He's only joking. He's totally only joking.
Yeah, I'm just yeah. No, I'll bet you for it. I'm just joking, but
anyway, don't try this at home, kids. What's the point?
Yeah, don't try this at home, kids. Yeah. Don't do it like a weird idea. We used to run around with tasers and try to zap each other. I told my friends, I was like, y'all hit me with that taser. When I get up, it's the last thing y'all ever do. They never did zap me with it. And I was like, I will bury y'all right here, whenever I get up. But they never did that.
Exactly. Okay. Quit giving people bad ideas. We're back to this now. Why does nature draw us? Why does nature draw our mind to that sort of superpower space, or the serenity, the next level of, dare we say, like a layer of consciousness, sort of between the sleeping and the waking world that seems magical? Why do you think that is?
I think that just that primal, like that return of, maybe of the formal ourselves, from the maybe it takes us all the way back to even to the hunter-gathering mindset that we had back in the day. I know me personally, like if I can get around water, it brings me back center. It brings me back to kind of calms me down and stuff like that. And I know like the other night for me, like me personally, I went over to my land. I've been working on everything. Had to go pick up something. It was real late at night. I got over there, and it's way out in the country. And then I looked up, and you could see the stars and everything. It was no sky pollution, and it's just like it just kind of reaffirmed, like, hey, this is what you need to be doing. This is what you do. You're doing right. You know, it's kind of nature was kind of, you know, reaffirmed my mind, like, hey, you're doing right. It's just going to be a little stressful, but it's going to be right. But it's just that primal age of, you know, that's what we were so used to, you know, for millennia, that we looked up at the stars and seen what they were, and that's why they, you know, people put stories with them, with the horoscopes and the ancients fighting wars, and you know, and it's just, it takes us back to that primal, like, just age of what we truly do know. And we get on in the world and we get into the run and rigor, you know, fast pace, you know, especially get around a city and stuff like that. And I've lived in cities, and I lived in country towns, and I'd rather be out in the country. I mean, especially you know, being Memphis ain't exactly the safest place in the world to live, but we, you know, just being away, you know, and the people seem to be nicer. They seem to, because you know, part of just the nature, be able to get out into it, and like the guy who was said earlier, you know, like, just like he was saying, like, you know, most depression, like, you know, a lot of depressions are more in the wintertime. I mean, some of it is holidays and stuff, because, you know, you're thinking about lost loved ones, and you're thinking about who you're missing, and people that you know, that you've lost, or you know, you can't contact right now, or you just haven't seen, and that whole mentality, you know, during the winter. But also, it's, you know, like it is, you're not in the sunshine as much, you're not out, and you're not enjoying the things. I know, you know, that's why a lot of people, you know, they garden, and you know, when you garden, you get to, and you talk to your plants, you know, and people say, hey, you're crazy, we talk to your plants, but it's, you're giving carbon monoxide to them, and then they're turning around and giving you oxygen back to you, and they're, you know, it's that give and take, and it helps, so it helps them grow and helps you get good, fresh, clean oxygen right there and right beside you. And it's, you know, we need that release. I mean, I know some people can't get out in nature. They have you know, health issues and stuff like that, and I feel for them. But if you're able to, you know, get out and get into anything, just, you know, just take that moment of go to a park, anything, you know, just see, you know, and see how it feels good. I mean, you'll feel that just refreshing. Like I'm gonna have a bonfire Saturday night, and hopefully I won't set the whole block on fire, but we'll see how it goes.
Don't put it out there. Don't put it out there. You manifest your own destiny.
It wouldn't be the first time. It wouldn't be the first time, though. But that's another story for another day.
Right on. A bonfire sounds really sweet right now. I can think, so I live in the desert, as you guys know, and there's this place down there near Boulder City off the highway. It's a dry lake bed, and that would be the perfect place for a bonfire to watch the stars. So the desert is calling me as well. I got to go, guys. I'm out of here. You guys have a great night. No, I'm just kidding. That sounds like a ton of fun. Yeah, I mean, it's weird, right? How particular people are drawn to particular things. And it even seems like when you're in it, you're kind of thriving, or kind of kicked up to that thrive vibe, you know? Why do you think that is? Why is there sort of that thing that nature draws us to the highest aspect of ourselves, or is it just an illusion in our brain, like, you know, arguably everything else?
Because we're all truly connected in one way or another, you know, and it's reaching out to us and saying, hey, this is, you know, it's kind of like that quiet voice in the background letting us know, like, hey, come on. You know, with all the ripping and running, like I said, in life and work and kids and this and that, you know, and then you turn around and then nature's sitting there calling. That's why, you know, there's so many parks and people RVs and stuff like that on the road, and somebody gets it's nice, and then it's kind of depressing once you have to come back home after it all said and done. But unless you can be a YouTuber and just do it full time, that'd be kind of pretty wild. And
that'd be sweet. Like
it'd be sweet.
Bacchanalia, Trouble Mind style in the desert. Why not, right? Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird thing. It's a weird thing, that energy. And so you lived in all the places. So what would be your druthers there? Would it be the city? Would it be the country?
I'd be the country. I mean, I've lived in the city, and I wanted it at one time. If I had, infinite money, if I had big money, I always thought about having like a loft apartment downtown, like downtown in the city, and then turn around and then have a country place I stay most of the time. So like, I wanted to go to the city, I'd have a little loft and it'd be cool. And you see them old movies with people having lofts, and that looks awesome. But I'd rather be out. When I lived in town, my stuff got broken into every other day. I had to worry about stuff like that. I had somebody be in the top of my door open and reach in there and steal my jacket out. It was the only thing that was in there, just stole my jacket. Or they broke out the back window because I had a box of chips, one of little bitty individual bags of chips, and they broke a $150 window to steal a box of chips. I'm like, y'all would have, please, the love of God, y'all knocked on my door. I gave them to you, I swear. But it's
unfortunate.
It is, and but I mean, there's pluses having a city. It's convenient. You're having everything. Like where I'm at right now, I'm in a little town, which is convenient, but it's just nice to get out, and have be away, and you don't have to hear the sirens and all that kind of stuff. You're just out and
totally
kind of do your own thing.
I was just actually yesterday. I was out in a particular space out here, kind of outside of Las Vegas. It's very country. It had horses and packs of pet dogs just kind of roaming, and this nice little community. It was wild. I was like, damn, this is crazy. Like, I didn't know this was even out here, but they sent me out there for work, and I'm just kicking it, talking to the locals. They're also very nice. They're just like, hey, hey, my name's James. So what's your name? like, hey, what's up? My name's Mike. And you end up hanging out with these people, which, doesn't happen so often in the city. Everybody's in a big hurry and they want to blow by you, and then nobody wants to talk to you and this type of stuff. But then, suddenly they get a stranger in town, in the rural vibe, and everybody wants to know your name. It's a wild thing, man. Everybody wants to have a conversation. It's so crazy and so refreshing. There's something about it that kind of brings people back to that. I think where we came from. I think absolutely where we came from. Yeah, fire stuff. We're about at that weird spot. You got a final thought for us, and we'll get to Daryl here. We got some people waiting. I appreciate you waiting as well.
Yeah, I'll give a final thought. And a super quick funny story. I took a building out there to that land, and I got out there and I turned around and looked, and this older gentleman, he's probably in his 70s. And he come walking up, hey, you gonna put that here? I'm like, yeah. And he's sitting there, and then his dog showed up, and then his granddaughter showed up, and and the guy was delivering the building. He's kind of looking around, and he's like, what in the world? I was like, it's just the neighbors, I guess. My new neighbors are my new best friends. I just met, but it was like a little circus. But yeah. True final thought, just if you're able to get out and try. If you're in a stressful point in your life and you're having just no ends meet, just it don't solve anything, but just my opinion, get out there and see, find something, get out and go to a park or go sit by a lake or something, and get out in nature and enjoy it for a moment and help you get back in the center, But as always, I appreciate you having me come on, and I appreciate you doing this for everybody, for we have a platform to talk and come together with these ideas and stuff.
Absolutely. Appreciate the call. You love him. That's Ricky the Anything is Possible podcast. You know where to find it. Just search it a.i.p.ricky. You'll find it on a search engine, or go to troubledminds.org/friends, or click the friends link on the website. Scroll down. It'll say follow Ricky here. It's all alphabetical. So over there, you'll get a link to all his stuff. Please check out his show talking about all manner of wild things, and check out his live streams on Wednesday night as well. Tomorrow at what time? What time does that happen?
8:30 Central.
8:30 Central. There we go. Appreciate you, brother. Thanks for staying up late with us, and thanks for chipping in, and always a pleasure. Have a great night.
Yes, sir. You too.
Thank you very much. That's Ricky in Tennessee. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubleminds.org. Thanks for sharing the airwaves with each other, guys. As the calls come in, the flow is different and weird sometimes. Daryl in New York, thanks for being patient. You're on Troubled Minds. How are you? And go right ahead.
Great conversation. Had so many thoughts while all in.
Daryl. You're super quiet, like you're in a tunnel, like you're in a like.
Can you hear me better now?
Oh my God, so much better. Okay, don't get so close. Get kind of close, but yeah, you're good.
Okay,
much better.
I'll try to keep a good distance.
Perfect.
All right, so I had a few thoughts. When I was a little girl, my parents came from France, and we always went away in the summertime, and we didn't have a lot of money. We went to, I don't think it cost that much where we went. But we'd have a little cottage in the country, with the lake. We didn't go to the beach or anything. We went to the mountains. And that when I went to France and I was in my 20s, even the people I knew that were in their 20s, they had homes in the country. I mean, they weren't expensive, to go to. And they always took 2 months vacations. That's how the French do their vacations. They take the whole summer off. Nobody's working in the summer, They go away for 2 months, and then they work the rest of the year all the time. They don't take a week off here, a week off there, like we do. And they also get a lot of vacation time. So I think there's something about being in the country that was so important to them, even if they had 2 dimes to scrape together, they still had enough to get away for those, important weekends, And why do we put flowers in our apartments or plants, and we have animals, It's part of that being wanting to have nature in your home, even though, you can't really live in nature. You could have nature live with you. And I think it is important to have that kind of environment to make you feel better. Also, I wanted to mention back in the 20s and 30s, when people were sick in the hospital, when they were recuperating, they would bundle them up, in warm clothing and blankets, and take them, outside to a patio or a balcony in the hospital or the roof, to sit in the sun and get better. So they knew that there was something about being outdoors in the sun to get natural vitamin D to help their recuperation go better. I wanted to mention that. Another thing I wanted to mention, I don't remember where I heard it. Maybe you heard it with me. Maybe it was on your show or it was on another show. That people were, when they were in, doing experiments in outer space, the first time they went up in one of those, they didn't go to the moon. They just went into outer space, to do an orbit. And they didn't realize that, they had zero gravity. And I can't remember what they were doing, some activity that made a guy, he didn't realize it would make him slam into the side of the, the shuttle. And he cut his arm open. And they're like, oh no, how do you deal with bleeding and zero gravity? They didn't know how to handle it, and they managed to bandage him up, and he had a pretty big gash, I guess, in his arm, right? And I think they wanted to check the wound later and rebandage it, and it was all healed, and they were it was remarkable. There was no scar, there was no wound, it was perfectly healed, and that wouldn't have happened without the zero gravity. There was something about being in zero gravity that made the healing process super fast, So I wonder, the effects of zero gravity have some weird, side effects, right? And that was remarkable. I thought that was a great story.
Yeah, I've never heard that. I've never heard that, so I don't know the source on that. So we didn't hear that together. But I mean, it doesn't surprise me that in some capacity where our body's going to react incredibly differently in zero gravity or less gravity, or variations of Earth's gravity. So that type of stuff, it makes me go, because think about how horrifying that would be, right? Somebody clacks an elbow on a hard thing in like the International Space Station. And blood starts spraying everywhere. I mean, it's not like you can put a towel on it or whatever. Now the blood's not just kind of dripping down your arm; it's now flying through the air.
That's what they did. They contained the wound and the blood, and they stopped the bleeding with whatever methods they had and bandaged it up as fast as possible. But it was something they didn't anticipate at all, and they were very nervous about that, like, oh God, we just got here and we already have a really deep gash. Maybe we have to have him go back to Earth, to take this care of it. And how is he going to get whatever? But when they looked at the wound again, it was, totally healed. They're like, what? Not expecting to see that. So that was like a bonus kind of side effect of being in outer space. What else did I want to mention? Well, people like shamans, they would go out into the wilderness. And I mean, how did they make ayahuasca? Who figured that out? Like, how old have they been doing that? And how did they know that if you take two, different plants and mix them together into tea, you're going to have a very religious experience? Like, how does that trial and error, How long did that take to find out? Like, did that come to them in an image and in a download? Like Nostradamus, I think he would go out into the wilderness. He would get his visions out in nature. And a lot of people go out in nature to get their, to get smarter, to get, monks do it. It's spiritual. There's something spiritual in nature, But, there is a food chain, and we had to figure out how to survive amongst, whatever perils we would find in nature. Like, I don't think we were, I'm sure there were, there still are people that succumb to wild animal attacks, Yeah. We're not
different parts of the world.
We're not immune to them even today. So, we knew that they were, there were some dangers and perils of being out in nature, but there were some probably great benefits for it,
Definitely. What else you got? Go ahead. We're running out of time. Got
let me
about
see
a minute
if I have
left.
anything.
Good.
All right. Let me see. I think that I think that's about it, except that I have two little jokes.
Fire away.
Okay. This is really silly. Elton John brought this little pet rabbit a treadmill to exercise on. It's now a little fit bunny. Isn't that funny? A little fit bunny. Okay, it's a little fit bunny. I'm going to be singing that like that from now on.
Now it's stuck in your head and all the rest of ours.
It's a little fit bunny. Okay, and you know what? Truthfully, this is true. Like, I have a total chronic fear of giants, right? You know how I'm fascinated yet, terrified of giants? It's called a fee-fi phobia.
I love it.
Okay.
I love it. Daryl, you're the best. Thanks for bringing the levity, the humor, and all the brains as well. Always a pleasure. Thanks for being part of this, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay,
Have a great night.
thanks. Thank you. Great show.
Thank you. Great call. Daryl in New York, you love her. A good friend for a long time. And of course, the Cosmic Comic, we're affectionately calling her now because Dad Joke Daryl was not as flattering. The Cosmic Comic, again, troubledminds.org/friends. Scroll down. It says follow Daryl here. Please check out her YouTube channel. Talented lady. As you know, sings in English and French, and frequently hosts karaoke on the Discord. Come meet her and all the rest of the people. troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link. Come say hi. Be right back. More Troubled Minds coming up. We got Theo has been waiting a long time, and then we got Squigs and your calls as well. Don't go anywhere.
In a cryogenic slumber, lost in the lunar night, your face a faded number among the stars so bright. Dreams of forgotten echoes, waiting for time's command. Curtains of gray and sorrow, the lonely lunar sand. Below the moonlit sky, of the love we tried, silent by your ranged in souls reside, suspended in a story, kept in the cold dark tide. Our futures in the making, in a silver-edged domain, hearts kept in silent aching, till we meet once again. Below the moonlit sky, of the love we tried. Frozen time we're resting, waiting for dawn's embrace. Whispers of love confessing in this forgotten place. Below the moonlit sky, of the love we tried. With the morning glow, and the light will come to know. Below the moonlit sky, of the love we tried. In the depths of lunar silence, our destinies intertwined. Memories kept so vibrant in the vacuum deeply mine. The tale of cosmic yearning across the astral sea, and the fires of hope still burning for when we finally breathe free.
Indeed. What's up, guys? Great calls. Appreciate you very much. What's up, Ricky, Eric, Sweets, Squigs? So we got call order. Theo's been waiting a minute. Thank you for being patient. Theo first. We got Squigs coming up in your calls as well. See Sweets, Squigs. What's up, Kelly, MJ, Dawn, APOC, Matzel, Daryl. Fantastic call. Thank you for the jokes and always bringing the amazing stuff. Gaston, Jeff, and Wisco. Herschel, I see you guys. Who'd I miss? If I missed you, just say hi in the chat. I'll say hi back. And yeah, that's why we kind of do the breaks this way, and then we could trim it out, and I can seem like the aloof talk show host that never talks to anybody. What's up, Ioxy? I see you there. Who'd I miss? Sylvain, how you doing? Yep, Sylvain. Everybody loving Daryl's jokes. Absolutely. Oh, Derek added this. What did he say? What's up, King of Heckle Mundo? How you doing, buddy? Welcome back. Let's see. What did he say? The cosmic comic, cosmedian, right? Is that what it was? What did I miss? There's merging some terms here. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, there you go. The cosmic comedian or the cosmedian. Yeah, there we go. Maybe that's maybe we're making up new things, spreading new ideas into the cosmos itself. You tell me. Love to hear your thoughts on this. And if I missed anybody, just say hi. I'll say hi back as we go, trying to do my best to keep up. Squigs, I see you there. What's up? Taxi Graveyard, Herschel over on Kick. Here we go. Trouble Minds happening right now. And Theo coming up. Here we go. Welcome back. to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, D Live, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting, and of course, 88.4 FM Auckland, New Zealand on the Underground Media Network. Tonight, we're talking patterns of power, nature's visual code, and human consciousness. And we started with this wild article from Science Alert that says, looking at images of nature does something powerful in the brain. Now, why is that? It's strange. We talked about windows and sort of blacking them out and having that really, sort of closed-in effect in the cityscape. But also, why do we feel drawn to the country, drawn to nature itself? And how weird does this get when you scale the ideas Troubled Mind style? 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show just like this. Thanks for being patient, my man. Theo in Philly, you're on Troubled Minds. How are you, sir? And go right ahead.
Oh, what's up? How are you doing?
Oh, pretty good. I got no complaints. Just living the dream, talking about Wild Things by Dark of Night with my friends, and I'm slaying it. Again, like I said, this is one of those ones where I wasn't sure it was going to resonate whatsoever, and here we are again. You guys are the best. What's on your mind, my man?
No, it's definitely resonating. Can you talk about the topic for like 25 or 30 more seconds?
Sure, absolutely. So we started with this, again, sciencealert.com, looking at images of nature does something powerful in the brain. And if you know me, I go, okay, so that's amazing. But what does this look like at that troubled mind scale? And why are we different people are drawn to particular spaces? Meaning, let's say I'm drawn to the desert. I live in the Southwest, right? And some people are like, ew, gross. I would never want to live there. It's so hot and all the icky things. But there's also some beautiful majesty to the desert. Like I get the mountains, I get the ocean. I've been there, I've done that. There's just something about it that really, really draws me to this space. And how come we're all a little bit different there? And how come some people are city dwellers and prefer the city? Or, maybe some mix of all the things when they come together. But then our brain, again, so if you go and look at the article here, and all the links will be in the description, they're describing this as people being able to even heal faster when they're able to see nature sort of in a hospital setting. And this is old science. This is not anything new, but they were trying to learn what the mechanism behind this was in this new study. And so, 49 volunteers using the fMRI technology and electric shocks and pictures of nature. And, you get a Ghostbusters episode. Anyway, why do you think that the nature itself, sort of not just the aspect of it and us being drawn to it and seeing it, kind of supercharges us? Why is that? And is it that, I don't know, how spooky does it get, I guess? So go right ahead, sir. What you got?
All right, no, I think I'm good right now. I think it is very strange that nature is definitely something that does supercharge people in terms of what they are used to, And I think it does undercharge people who are not used to it, I am typically a city person. I have mostly been raised on the East Coast in a major urban area, but that does not necessarily define me because I'm used to, I've traveled around a lot. I've spent a lot of time in the country, mostly in on the Eastern Shore of Maryland and certain other places like on the West Coast and a little bit in India. But there's something about the energy of either a major urban East Coast city or the middle of nowhere that you definitely have to appreciate either way.
Yeah, I agree. It's really odd too, like those super humid sort of eastern seaboard way up there type of stuff. Like DC is one of those ones. Like it seems magical, but it also seems like I wouldn't want to live anywhere near that. It's like a swamp. Y'all can have that, you dirty East Coasters. No thanks.
Oh yeah, no, it's absolutely I would say in the Northeast, it's kind of miserable either way. When it's hot during the summer, it's hot, but it's also extremely humid. And then when it's cold, it's not as cold as a lot of places like the Midwest or Canada, but it's cold enough to be kind of a miserable place to live. I do remember way back in the day when I was probably in my early 20s, I was working at a restaurant, and a lot of the people in the back of the house, they were Guatemalans. And it was the middle of summer in Philadelphia. It was probably 94 to 96, but really humid. And all of my Guatemalan, like, back of the house coworkers were, like, complaining about the heat. Like, wait, isn't it this hot in Guatemala? Like, no, never. It's just like, it's like nice in Guatemala. It's like on a plateau. It's like, never this hot and humid at the same time.
Yeah, it's kind of like Hawaii. Hawaii's like that. It's kind of, temperate all year long. It's 75 to 80 degrees, depending on the season. Humid, but it's got the nice breeze off of the ocean. I mean, there's some places in the world that are blessed with the weather. And certainly, clearly, I've never been to, it was Guatemala, you said?
Yeah, Guatemala. Apparently, like, it's pretty, like, seasonally, like, it never gets over 90 there, although I imagine it's, like, much more humid, but that's, like, is never really that hot there.
Yeah, fair enough. Again, all weather is not created equal. I was talking about this in the chat the other day, too, sort of with the worldwide economy, but that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. But why do you think we're drawn to this? And basically, the science we have regarding this suggests that it's kind of bringing out these levels of, extra healing, sort of pain resistance, some of this other stuff. Why do you think that is? Is it that we're supposed to be merged, man and nature together, and not forget it? It's kind of a reminder in my eyes. But what do you think?
I am absolutely, like, not sure about that whatsoever. When it comes down to it, like, I don't know what humans are supposed to be and what nature is supposed to be, actually. Excuse me 1 second. Yeah, so it's just like, are we nature? Like, is everything that we construct product nature because we are natural ourselves? So it's just like, I never know, like, how much humans are supposed to merge with nature, because I never know how much we are nature and how much we attempt to separate ourselves from nature. And that's something that, like, where do you think, like, the line begins and ends, How comfortable are we supposed to be in our own creations are we supposed to be comfortable in what has created us, if you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm not sure. And I think the line's different for everybody, and it changes throughout our life, which is an interesting thing, right? Like, you get a little older and you want to be a little cooler, you don't want to be in the desert heat. But when you're young, 20 years old or whatever, you're like, yeah, give me the sunburn. I'm into it. So I don't know. It's strange. It's strange how it not just feels like we're drawn to these areas in particular times of our lives, but they're always changing and always growing. And as we, our body ages and does its thing, well, are we drawn to the coast? Are we supposed to be on the ocean like Tolkien's elves that go off into the into the wild blue yonder? I don't really know, but it's weird. It's weird how it does definitely change, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's actually, like, a very interesting topic that you brought up. Like, have you ever heard of eels in England?
What are they called? Say that again.
Sorry, eels, like jellied eels that they eat in England.
Oh, no, it sounds absolutely delicious. Tell me about them.
No, they're not actually, like, absolutely delicious. But for the longest time, biologists in Europe could not figure out where eels came from. Because, like, they would, like, harvest all of these eels in the Thames, which is, the major river in London, and they would, like, harvest them all over other places in Europe as well. But they could never figure out the eel's reproductive cycle. And that's because the eels, it turned out, they would, like, migrate across the Atlantic to the Sargasso Sea, and that is where they began their life cycle. And they would, like, begin there as, like, these tiny little sort of embryos that would then again start making their journey back across the Atlantic to England and become glass eels, and then just, transform. Like, they had, like, 4 or 5 different transformations during their life cycle, but, like, that's just, like, always, like, the most crazy thing. Like, you harvest them in the Thames as full adults, but biologists for, like, a few dozen centuries in Europe could never figure out where they came from, because they could never find how they were born or how they reproduced. It just turns out that, like, the adult, like, eels would migrate to the Sargasso, which is, like, kind of in the mid-Atlantic near Bermuda,
and just reproduce there, and then somehow he would get adult eels in England. So
weird, man.
I don't know.
Weird.
Sorry, that's a pro of nothing. But
that's okay.
Yeah.
Did you ever try it? Have you had them?
No, never jellied eels, but I've had like a lot of like Japanese eels. Like what do they call that?
I have no idea. If it's not pizza or tacos, I don't really know. So you got me there.
No, fair enough. Sorry, that was a pro of nothing, but yeah.
You're good. Go ahead. What else you got?
Not too much. Just a poem if you want it.
Of course. From the official poet of Troubled Minds. Absolutely. Love to hear.
All right. So it's just rain sliding off steel into storm drains, gutters to concrete slabs, and off into the water mains. Where does water come from? And let me make it dirty as Philadelphia trash. Last chance to take the subway. Dip your toes upon the rail and let me hear the third rail flash. Be your underground travails, as simple as a country poem, written in the night by a city's neighbor who doesn't know him. Yeah, that's my terrible poem for the night.
Fire as always. What are you talking about? Hey, human inspiration comes in all manner of things and presents itself all manner of ways, and you are absolutely fire, and I appreciate you sharing your poetry, and always a great call and always a fantastic poem. So stop beating up on yourself. Stop that. No more. Look, this is our new mantra, okay? We're going to make one together right now before you go. We're going to stop beating up on ourselves, okay? Stop speaking negatively about ourselves out loud, because when we do, we're manifesting negativity within ourselves, okay?
Fair enough.
You follow me?
Very positive message, and I appreciate that. Yeah.
Okay. I do it too. But you beat yourself up an awful lot, and you're a very talented guy. Appreciate the call, brother.
All right. Thanks, brother.
Have a great night. Theo in Philly. You know him, you love him. The official poet of Troubled Minds, a dear friend for a long time. And also, we're waiting for him to share his social media links. Because he's like shy about it. But unfortunately, he's not cataloging these poems somewhere, so where we can go kind of find his work. So we have sort of a one-off poem that he throws away, and he reads it to us, and then it's sort of baked into the Troubled Minds episode. So if you want more Theo poems, you know what to do. Go listen to more Troubled Minds. But yeah, fire stuff. I don't know why he, I guess it's the insecurity within all of us. And I'll tell you the story. Remind me to tell you the story about my insecurity, even though I've got a big mouth and I've been doing this for a long time. But anyway, love to hear your thoughts. We're talking that only Troubled Minds could be like, well, turn a conversation about the weather into a long form conversation. We're talking about not just the weather, but nature. So looking at images of nature does something powerful in the brain. It's been science for a long time, but they're trying to figure out why. And as I call these reality tunnels and all the rest, it feels like we're drawn to these particular places for possibly particular reasons. And for instance, if you're a desert person, you probably do a little thriving in the desert like I do. Or if you're a forest person, you probably do a little more thriving in the forest. You get it? I don't know. It's weird. It's strange. And that may change as we go through our lives. Anyway, why is that? And why are there actually measurable differences in sort of the human physiological aspect of pain tolerance or even healing faster? What's going on with that? Love to hear your thoughts. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show just like this. Let's go to Squigs. Squigs in Australia. What's up, brother? How you doing tonight? Welcome to the joint. And what is on your mind, my man?
Hey, Mike. How are you? Great call from Theo. He mentioned eels, and I've got a quick story about eels. So I grew up in the country here in Australia, and I remember asking my dad one day, because we dug a massive dam by hand, because my dad was a skinflint, so he didn't like to spend money. So we dug this huge dam. And then when there were eels in the dam, I was like, we didn't put the eels in the dam. How did the eels get in the dam? Like, did they just manifest from the ether? And anyway, so it turns out eels can walk a long distance across land. So that's how you can have a dam and eels can just manifest in your dam. It's because they legged it there. Anyway, I just thought that was funny.
and creepy. Is that for real though? That's for real? For real? They can
leg it like kilometers. Like the nearest dam to our house, to our farm, was about 4 kilometers away. So these eels just pick a nice cool day when there's a little bit of rain and they just jump out and leg it like snakes.
A +1 to my nightmare fuel. Thank you for that, sir.
And they taste terrible too. If you ever go for sushi, avoid the eel. But yeah, on the topic. So a couple of things that I was thinking about with why nature heals and why the image of nature heals. So a lot of people would have heard about ORMUS, so orbitally rearranged monatomic elements, right? So there was a guy, David Hudson, in the 70s. He was a farmer in Arizona, and he discovered ORMUS while he was studying the properties of his land. And he discovered, and science is sort of starting to prove it now, that there's super electromagnetic properties of these basically when you get a gold, which is what do they call it? They exist in pairs. I don't know, they're called diatomic. But you can do a certain process to it and make it monoatomic. And it has an energetic property. So what I'm trying to do is link how is it that nature is healing? Because I think in terms of frequency and harmonics. So when you're out in nature or beside a river or beside a mountain, you're syncing, just like grounding when you touch the earth. When you're near nature, your frequency, your electromagnetic signature is syncing in with nature. And that's important because life comes out of nature. So when you're closer to nature, you're harmonizing with life itself. So I think that's why being in nature is healing. And I think much the same way of listening to music is sort of healing. Looking at a picture of nature will, in a way, sort of like, I guess the way I could describe it is you would have seen on Instagram and other places where there's these devices you put on the back of your phone that are said to reduce the harmful radiation. Now they're geometric patterns. And so in much the same sense of looking at a photo or a painting of nature will have a healing effect. It's sort of like attuning your energy to what it would be like if you're in, much the same as that thing on the back of your phone is reducing the harm of the radiation. Seeing a photo of a mountain or a river or a painting of a mountain or river is increasing whatever natural energy is around you, whether it be electromagnetic or whatever. So I think that's kind of all I had to have on it. And William Reich, who a lot of people would have read a bit of his work, he was the one that sort of came up with this idea of orgone energy, which was a form of natural energy. And I think that man has essentially become divorced. As we left nature, there's this concept of being divorced from nature. Ben Stewart wrote about it and spoke about it in his documentary Kymatica, which I recommend everyone check out. But yeah, so being divorced from nature is a big problem for the modern era. And, if we go back in time to the Tartaria times, everything was designed with beauty. So today's buildings are called brutalist, and they don't have that natural beauty. The flow and the ebb and flow of the architecture is no longer there. So I think that man has sort of gone away from nature and by extension has even reduced the natural beauty in his built environment. And I think that we'll suffer the consequences of that over time.
I think you're right. And all it takes is to go back just a little bit in history and see how they used to build these amazing cathedrals. And now they're like converting, an old Pizza Hut into a church type of stuff. I mean, I get utility and I get, cost and all this stuff, but architecture is certainly, except at the highest levels, it's just not manifesting that sort of awe and wonder that it should. And I'm with you, man. There's a lot of things happening as part of this discussion here, and drawing our energy into a place that's more, let's say, of reverence of where we came from. Regarding Australia, I don't know a lot about it. I've never been there. Like I said, I always say Australia is a fascinating place. Weather-wise, are you drawn more sort of to the bush or to the ocean? Because I mean, those are the two options. Am I right?
Oh, well, I hate the sand and I hate the sun. So if I could have, I often joke that if I could press a button and delete the sun from the universe, I would press it several times and we'd all be in perpetual darkness. I'm sorry, but that's what I would do. But yeah, I'd like the bush definitely over the ocean. But it's funny because all of our major cities are coastal, Sydney and Melbourne. So we don't really go inward much here in Australia because I mean it's desert. But yeah, look, I think it's a super interesting topic about how an image of nature can heal, and I think it would have something to do with resonance. Like, even if the natural, like my view out my window right now is oceans and mountains. A massive lake and a mountain, and we picked this block specially for that because I'm in a city, but I'm on a specific spot that sees water and a mountain, and I think that's healing, right? So if you then see a picture of it, your frequency is aligning to whether you can't consciously look at a picture of a mountain or a river and not feel a certain amount of serenity. And I think it's something to do with that same concept of that geometric shape on the back of your phone. So that reduces the negative frequency, and the image of the beautiful scenery somehow increases the effect of positive energy. Yeah. That's all I got.
Well said. All that's absolutely wonderful, and also recognize too why sort of some of the coastal areas or the nice views and this type of stuff is it costs more money because of that actual healing energy. We're like paying more for the recognition of nature being a massive part of us that we're, as you said, divorced from and becoming more and more divorced from. It's grotesque. It's unfortunate. And thank you for being part of this. Thanks for pointing it out. And thanks for the amazing call. Always a pleasure, brother.
Just real quick before I bail, we had our property valued and the real estate agent said, you've got a premium block. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, that view puts $200,000 on your house. And so like you're right, there is a monetary value for access to nature. And that can't be, that's historically known globally. So that can't be coincidence or futile. It must be some value in it. Yeah.
Exactly right. Yes, indeed. And I wonder, I'll keep thinking about this. You keep thinking about this. We'll reconvene sometime and give it another twist. Always a pleasure, but I appreciate the call.
Peace out.
Thanks a lot. Take care. Squigs in Australia. You know him, you love him. Great call. Absolutely. And that's why we do this, right? Everybody's all over the world and doing different things and thinking about different ideas. But recognize when we come together, sometimes a mundane idea turns into all manner of fire angles. And so why are we drawn to this? And in particular, why are we drawn to, let's say specifically, a particular place or a particular time? Is it strictly nostalgia or is it something else entirely? I'm going to read this and it fits with what Squig says. Again, join the Discord, come meet Squigs. He's active on the Discord, troubledminds.org. Click the join our Discord on top. It's a chat client, voice client, completely free. Just come hang out, come meet these amazing folks. But this right here, perhaps nature itself, and this is from the write-up, perhaps nature itself is an advanced biological technology operating quietly and continuously, waiting only for humanity to decipher its code. Indeed, these hidden possibilities challenge our fundamental understanding of consciousness and reality. They suggest that humanity, standing at the crossroads of ancient intuition and modern neuroscience, might soon discover a truth stranger and more powerful than we ever imagined. And that's what's on my mind tonight. Talking about the weather, talking about nature, talking about where we come from, and talking about where we're headed toward. And divorcing ourselves from nature, very succinctly and beautifully put by Squigs there, is problematic. Remove your imagination to Mars and consider the same idea as we discussed earlier. We might have bigger problems than we ever dreamed. Or easy to fix. 702-957-1037. Be right back. We got Herschel and Kramos coming up, and your calls as well. Don't go anywhere.
the heart of the steel jungle, machines hum, the digital rumble. Gates of cyber open wide, plug us into cosmic tide. Feeling sparks across the sky. As knowledge flies, we're amplified. Stargate, Stargate, Stargate. Open to the arcane fate. In this massive data center dome, eternal truth stop to roam. Circuits flicker with endless fire. Data streams that never tire. Unified by electric dreams. Unlock the truth in silver beams. Stargate, Stargate, Stargate. Open to the arcane fate. Synthesize what we seek and find. Infinite paths in the network mind. Answers buzz from star to core. Knowledge whispers evermore. Stargate, Stargate, Stargate. Open to the arcane fate. In realms where the data streams collide, imagination and logic side by side. In a labyrinth of digital maze, we transcend our earthly ways. Tapping keys like cosmic tones, spikes become our whispered homes. Stargate, Stargate, Stargate. Open to the arcane fate.
Indeed. What's up, guys? Rumble fam coming in strong. Great stuff from Theo. Great stuff from Squigs. Appreciate you guys. It's wild, right? Who said this? Also, Theo added, Squigs allows our energy to resonate on the southern hemisphere. Right? Isn't that what it's all about in the end of things? It's sort of taking this human experience and kind of sharing it, broadcasting it, and thinking about wild ideas and, well, expanding the globe for, well, whatever might come next. Who's ready? Who's ready for what comes next? There you go. Can you get Trouble Minds ready to broadcast from Antarctica? Maybe. We might be able to pipe in and pipe out. We'll see. Maybe one day we'll set that up. You guys are the best. Appreciate the calls. If I missed anybody, sorry about that. Who did I miss? Let's see real quick. Jeff and Wisco. I know I missed Alec in the chat. I see you there, buddy. Gaston. We got Kramos coming up, Herschel, and your calls as well. If you got something for us, here we go. Trouble Minds happening in about 5 seconds. Let's go. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rumble, X, Twitch, D Live, and Kick. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting, and of course, 88.4 FM, Auckland, New Zealand, on the Underground Media Network. Tonight, is it possible that natural patterns hold an encoded language that unlocks hidden human capabilities? For instance, ancient temples and modern screens might both harness this visual power, one healing and one potentially controlling. And of course, that's the Black Mirror, as we call it, the images coming from your phone. Recognize when you turn your phone off what it looks like. It looks like an ancient obsidian scrying mirror. Weird, right? Maybe it's just a coincidence. Maybe it's not. I don't really know. But anyway, just throwing that out there as food for thought. But basically, we started tonight with this conversation, just to reframe real quick. Looking at images of nature does something powerful in the brain. And we've known this for a long time. People heal faster. Again, sort of their pain thresholds are changed and they're able to kind of endure more because of the call of the wild or whatever, right? There's been a lot of speculation about this for a very long time, but this scientific endeavor is to figure out why and how to test this. And anyway, it's weird, right? And it's something we all know at heart in our intuition. However, what causes this, and how could we sort of supercharge this to become better humans, to sort of undivorce ourselves from nature? Shout out Squigs. Appreciate the call. And Theo as well. Rumble fam coming in strong. Love to hear your thoughts. What do you guys know about this? And what is with the view, and what is with the different climates, and why are we all so drawn to different things? 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. Let's go to Cremos in Chile. Other international friends. What's up, brother? How are you tonight? And go right ahead.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. A little louder if you'd speak up, and go right ahead. Welcome to Troubled Minds.
Okay. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Fine. Very good.
Fine is good. Very good is better. What's on your mind?
I was listening, great calls, and I want to share my theory about it.
We're all ears. Go right ahead.
Well, Chile is a very long country. We have many kinds of different weathers and environments. And I think the topic is interesting because my theory, I can find my theory in your topic because I lived most of my 42 years old in Santiago, the capital of Chile. And Santiago is a 5 million, 6 million people city. It's very big, and it's have many buildings. So I think about the topic is very simple. My theory, it's about lines and sounds, because in Santiago I see vertical lines from the buildings, in the subway, vertical, very near vertical lines from every structure. And when I go to the beach, I see a long horizontal line. And I think the brain, of course, feels better watching a very long horizontal line than many verticals line. And I think the sound is the same because, well, now I live in Viña del Mar. It's next to the sea. I have this great view, and I hear waves, water in waves. And in Santiago, before I came here, I was hearing water, but thrown by a police truck. So the sound of the water was violent in Santiago because of the riots and all the protests. And here I have a very long horizontal line and water in waves. So I think the human goes to nature because of the lines and the sounds.
I'm with you. I love the horizontal line, or the horizon itself. It becomes sort of that threshold magic we've always talked about, right? That the idea of kind of moving through one liminal space from this to that. But also when you look at it, sort of standing on Earth and kind of looking up and looking across them, that especially the ocean. The ocean has a special magic. Like I said, I spent a lot of time in California on the coast in Monterey. We used to walk down to the beach, like in the summertime, since my grandmother lived there, and it was incredible. It was one of those things. Like I'm so grateful for the experience because many people don't get to experience it. But you're totally right in sort of that horizontal or the horizon threshold. It seems not just magical. It seems, I know why people would describe the firmament as such, because it does make you wonder what that next level of that sort of horizon is as we, sort of dream off into space, dream off to Mars or wherever we're heading. But maybe you're right. Maybe it's as simple as some sort of, less complicated sacred geometry as you're describing it. Maybe it's as simple as that. Yeah, I love it. I love it. As you know, look, I can go weird, but I can also go as basic as necessary to kind of get the job done. And in that case, I'm not making fun at all. I'm admiring the idea because maybe it is we overcomplicate things as humans. So I'm criticizing myself, but I love the theory. I love the theory. Fire stuff. What you got? Go
ahead. I think everybody does. Like, why am I thinking so much about this? It's so much simple. And for example, I have a brother in Australia, and in 1999, I went there. My father took me to see my brother in Australia and to meet my nephews. And it was amazing because all my life, I've watched the sunset looking at the ocean. And in Australia, I was looking at the ocean to see the sunrise in the morning. It was insane. It was so crazy because for me, the sunrise in the morning is always behind the mountains of Los Andes. It's the biggest mountains ever. And I saw many foreign people from other countries in Chile, in Santiago, after a party, watching the sunrise behind the mountains. And it was spectacular for them. And for me, it was like, hey, I see this every day. But when I was in Australia, the horizontal line, I was not watching the sunset. I was watching the sunrise. And it was like bending. Everything was bending for me because I've never saw that. And it was very pleasantly shocking.
I agree. It's weird, right? Like the places we live, like I live in Vegas too, and so many people come visit here, and they're standing around just staring in awe at all these places, like the Vegas sign. They're all lined up every single day, all these people, to take a picture with like the sign that says "Welcome to Las Vegas," right? And I drive by it every day. I'm just like, hey, it's so strange, right? So like we're blessed in the ways that we don't really recognize because people come from all over the world to see that ocean view, to see the Vegas sign and the big casinos and the lights and all the things, right? It's wild that once again, sort of grounding ourselves, not just touch grass as we started with the conversation tonight, but also recognize that however mundane it may seem to you, it's magical to somebody who's maybe experiencing it for the first time. So just a reminder that we're a little more blessed than we believe us to be, and let's not forget it. Definitely not forget it. What else you got, sir? Go ahead.
I like when you say how blessed we are, because I always I changed my words because it was like with my friend, hey, be good, good luck, and I tell my friends fortune or success. Luck is for the casino, I think. But good luck is like to missing something, not to bringing the idea of accomplishment. It's like a success. Hey, I wish you success. It's going to be good. It's going to result fine. Good luck is like I hope you win the blackjack or something. But I think it's different. And fortune is the best thing that we can recognize, I think, even in the city or even in deep nature. Thank you, Michael.
Well said. Appreciate the call. You were the best. Have a fantastic night. Go give Kramos a follow. We got friends all over the world. troubledminds.org/friends. Scroll down a little bit. It's alphabetical order. It says follow Kramos here. Please go check out his YouTube channel. Again, inspiring and enlightening thoughts. Sometimes we overthink things, and maybe the answer is right in front of us all along, which is, well, also a very human thing, isn't it? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. We got more time if you got time for us. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show just like this. Herschel in Arizona. What's up, my man? Commercial Herschel. How are you, sir? And go right ahead.
Oh man, I was thinking about that was a great call by Kramos.
Definitely.
Yeah, really good. And so was Squakes. That was fire. I was thinking about a lot of the stuff that people brought up. I lived in Chicago for a long time and hadn't been in nature for a while. And then I lived out up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan by Lake Superior for like 6 years. And I went back to Chicago to visit, and I was so down because there was no nature. And I went out to eat with some friends at this loud restaurant with all these people, and I missed that noise, and I missed that it was a particularly celebratory neighborhood, you know. And I was driving home with my friends to their place after we ate, and I saw all the people out, you know, having fun and being noisy and listening to music really loud. And it just struck me, I had kind of a profound moment, is that when you're in the city, it's the people that connect you to nature, because people are a natural phenomenon. Like consciousness itself is probably the ultimate natural thing, like the ultimate natural phenomenon, you know.
Yeah, I follow you. That people connection is all of it. And so I think you can find this peace wherever. It's just, you know, sort of your flavor of peace, right? It's an important thing to have.
I needed that because I was down. And then when I lived in the UP, I thought a lot about the desert, and I thought about how ridiculous it seemed to me that people would build cities in the desert and that people would live in the desert. And then after a while, I started to think that it's the only place we deserve anymore. Like I was so much, but I want to read stuff. Like I've got some short things that I've written that fit for tonight. And I want to read the send off that I do, like at the end of my shows. It's not long. It won't take long. It's like a 3-minute thing, but I want to read this. Yeah. I want to read this piece that I wrote in 2006. And it's, really super short. It's a little prose. It's called The Gaze. I wrote this in December of 2006 in the middle of the UP, living in a shack with no running water in the middle of winter. The Milky Way reaches back to itself, draped across the shoulders of the trees on either end of the sky, looking out over its past like a proud life. My mouth agape, in awe and utter rapture. I'm caught in the gaze forever. So that's called The Gaze. That's the name of that one.
Why is it called that?
And that
doesn't make any
What's that?
Never mind. Don't answer that question. Continue, please.
And so this one is called Photosynthesize. And I wrote, this is a song lyric I wrote in 1994. If I were to die, would you get some flowers and burn them with my corpse and spread me over a rain cloud so I could rain down into the forest, deep into the valley and into the river, and then spread on up the roots, out into the trees, out through the branches, up through the leaves, and photosynthesize, mingle with the sky to form a brand new rain cloud. If you were to die, I would get some flowers and I'd burn them with your corpse, and I'd spread you over a rain cloud to watch you rain down into the forest, deep into the valley and into the river, and then spread up the roots into the trees, out through the branches, into the leaves, and photosynthesize to mingle with the sky, and you'd form a brand new rain cloud. And concede the wind, everything to the wind, concede to the wind. The end.
I love it. Yeah, you're a talented guy, my man. It's nature. Go ahead. If you got a commentary, go ahead. Don't let me ruin your moment.
No, I just wanted to, I think they fit for tonight. I mean, I have so many stories I've written about hikes and the mountains and different things, but tonight I was really just focused on the sky and the stars. So I just thought that I would do things having to do with the stars and the night sky, that connection. That's healing for me. That's where I go. Like, when I just lay down and stare up at the night sky. That's kind of my healing thing, you know. Everybody kind of has their own thing, I think, but like I prefer the woods to the ocean. I prefer the woods even to the mountains. But like the sky is kind of where it's at, a clearing in the trees and a good shot at the sky.
Like a nice, not cloudy night. I agree 100%. Which is, and you live in the desert like me. There's this weird magic about the sky in the desert. I can't describe it. I'm still trying to sort of conceptualize it so I can make sense of it and explain it to somebody who's never lived or spent time in the desert. There's some beauty, just majestic beauty of the sky in the desert. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, I'm in kind of an oasis where I live in southern Arizona. I'm between two mountain ranges and it's about 5,000 feet and there's plenty of water where I am. It's actually quite not a drought where I live. But it is a desert sky at night and it does get cold at night like the desert does. You know, we have that second night where it's a normal night and then about 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, it dives deeper again just before the sunrise. So you kind of need the extra blanket at the last minute, you know. But it's you in some places here you wouldn't know you were in it in a desert climate during the day. There are places where I live where it's pretty lush. And it's not all coniferous. There's a lot of deciduous and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
So
go ahead.
Well, I know we're getting close to the end here, so I kind of rushing myself a little bit, but I'll read the send off that I do at the end of my podcasts.
Sure.
And it kind of fits with tonight's theme. I think it does. It's been another great show.
Thank you.
So this is the send off that I do at the end of my show. I don't really have a name for it. I just call it the send off. It goes like this. This place where we live is not a joke. When I gaze at the stars at night and when I look out over the hills during the day, I'm consistently reminded that we live on a planet in space, wailing through the galaxy like a screaming rock. We are in such a tiny galaxy that no matter where we are in our galactic cycle, the universe of stars seem immovable. That's incredible. We are a moment. We are an instant in an infinite universe. We are an infinite in an instant universe. And every event that has ever happened here and that will ever happen here happened simultaneously, like in the snap of a finger. The instances of existence are so close in proximity that the whole thing is a singular material event. It's essentially over already. It's hard to believe we're even experiencing it. I hope we can be here tomorrow, don't you? There are people who would say that all of that makes us insignificant, and I very strongly disagree. The fact that we are so improbable is the very thing that makes us momentous. We are conscious beings who can observe ourselves. We are consciousness observing itself. We are each a refraction of light from a single source. You are the individual and the whole simultaneously. You're a masterful, mysterious, and distinctive, anomalous paradox. And I'd say that is rather significant. In the context of the time that our galaxy is here and the infinitesimal millifraction of time that we each have within that context, the reality of your consciousness and your power to observe and to manipulate matter, to use space, the essence of your energy and the planning of your time in this three-dimensional plane The influence of your refraction of the source is immeasurably exponential in the cosmic expanse. Why? Because it expands as far as you are able to observe into the infinite universe. Why? Because your observation affects it. Why? Because of the observer effect and its superposition. You affect what you observe. You are rare. You're not only a body, you have radiance. You radiate light. Your eyes can't see the frequency, but there's light. You are a luminescent jewel that can shine on yourself from within yourself. You are significant beyond the perception of anyone else. Shine on yourself as you shine on others. And what an honor that you shine on me. Now, smell the inside of your nose. Do it right now.
You got it, buddy. Fire stuff. Herschel, you're a talented guy. I love to have you as part of this group. Thank you for being a friend, and thank you for inspiring all of us. I want to read this to you real quick before you go. It's a super short comment left by Bobby Broadway in the chat. He says, "I speak for us all. You could read all night, and we would be happy. Don't feel rushed. Appreciate you, brother." Thanks for that.
All right.
Yeah, just
can you rock what the smell is cooking?
Absolutely, 100%. always, especially when you show up. I know where you're headed, and it's amazing stories and art and inspiration is where we're headed. Appreciate you, brother. We're going to take one more call after this, so thanks for the call. Always a pleasure. You have a fantastic night. I'm going to tell everybody all about where to find you in just a sec here. Thanks again, man.
Later, everybody. Bye.
Have a great one. That's our commercial Herschel. Search that commercial Herschel. You'll find his Substack and all the links and whatnot. Again, troubledminds.org. Click the friends link or troubledminds.org/friends. Scroll down a little bit. It says Herschel. He's got a link tree. Click that. Please go follow him. You can find his stories, his musing, his inspiration, and all kinds of things. His podcast. He changed the name to Easytopian. Look. We're blessed to have such smart and amazing friends that can see the world in a bunch of different ways. And I think, just real quick on that, think about this. If you lock into a reality tunnel, you're unable to see the world in myriad ways, okay? And my whole point of that is, can we emulate from outside of a superposition to a superposition sort of aspect of reality, right? Can we formulate it from 3D space, from regular macro entities by our mindset? I don't know. Again, Herschel reading that inspired me to think of that thing. And I think maybe the answer is yes. But also, what do I know? Maybe the answer is no. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. And we're just about to wrap this up, but Kelly, old friend, the first caller that ever called back, welcome to the joint, man. Pop on in here, and you're on Troubled Minds. How are you, sir? And go right ahead.
Let me get my phone ready. Can you hear me?
Yeah, much better now. Loud and clear.
Sorry about that. I was having to adjust my phone here.
That's okay. Live show. It happens. We're all here together, man. We love you. We appreciate you. What you got?
Oh man, I always like that ending that Herschel's got. It's pretty good. It's about everything on the nose right there on that one.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I like that one. It's pretty good, but I just wanted to add a couple things, kind of like what's his name? I don't know. His little side Squibs, I think it was.
Squigs, yeah, Squigs from Australia.
Yeah. He was talking about like how back in like ancient times, their architecture was like, everything coexists with nature. Like arches. They had a lot of archways, domes. Anything else with like what we have now, like these cities that we have now. I mean, they had city metropolises where, there was a lot of people at one time, but the architecture was a lot different. It moved with nature instead of against it. You know what I'm saying? Like cities now, like I was saying, they're all square. There's just all, it's like it goes against feng shui. For example, I wanted to bring up feng shui. They call it poison. Poison arrows. Poison arrows are like, let me give you a quick description on it.
Sure.
They're sharp pointed energies from architectures creating or cluttered that disrupt the flow of chi and lead to discomfort and stress within the environment. They claim that there's like two different types. So there's physical poison arrows, which like sharp corners and protruding structures, and symbolic poison arrows, such as like negative symbols, artwork that, that type of influences your energy and space differently. And you have, they go on and all kinds of stuff, but yeah, feng shui, they call it, that's why they don't have like, again, like, your homes, everything now is like all sharp corners, 90-degree angles. They're like, that type of stuff traps all your energy. And, within feng shui, if you have tons of people like that, that just balls up that, imagine that everybody just balled it. That's why you get a lot of, I don't know, hard energy too. If the energy of all the people going in one direction, you get like, I don't know, I could see that within like, say like these riots that happen, that, here in the past few years ago, you know what I'm saying? Like, but some of that energy, it's just going to explode, man. You can't really stop it. It has to spread out and then, equal itself out. But
yeah,
that's one.
Yeah. Just real quick on the feng shui stuff. I'm with you. If we can build that sort of the natural flow of energy in sort of an abode or a house or a home or whatever, then surely that's maybe happening in a natural space as well. And who knows? Maybe there's like an underlying force that kind of guides plate tectonics, and like who really knows, right? Again, I'm just being ridiculous, but that type of stuff, like that energetic feeling of crossing thresholds and moving from one space to another, that liminal in between. That's weird, man. It's weird. But yeah, fire stuff. Go ahead. What else you got?
Yeah, speaking of like tectonic plates, so like you even have feng shui that could kind of deflect that type of energy. That even no matter how powerful it is, like the Chinese, their architecture, they didn't have any. They built their temples. They didn't have any nails, everything was like kind of like laid on top of each other. Nothing really intertwined. It just meshed with each other, and so it could rock. It rolled with those, and they even tested it in like some laboratories, and I think they even got up past 10, and then they didn't fall down. They just rocked. I mean, even how bad it was going, I mean, all it did was rock, and then finally when it, it stopped, and it just kind of rocked right back into the same place it was. So the architecture, again, I think in some places, even in those areas, like even, I'm saying that they knew what they were doing. Nowadays, it just seems we're almost going in reverse. But yeah, I'm talking, that type of stuff, man, it's incredible. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot. That's why I've been around the world a lot. You know what I mean? I've been seen in different places. Like most people, like I've been to Australia. I've been to Guam. Dubai. I've seen that whole country grow from a desert to a city. And Kingdom of Bahrain, right? All their architectures, but the old architecture is beautiful. Looking at some of that stuff, you know what I mean? Especially being in the Middle East, that area too. But Hong Kong was one of my favorite places because some of the energy you do get, in those areas, like that everybody move. When you're having a good time and that much people having a good time, it's just it's good energy sometimes. But when like I said, you get sometimes that. Get a ball of energy just built up there. Sometimes you just can't stop that. You know what I mean? And that's the one you don't really want to be there. And that's just within, that's just within the communities that you're at in those big cities like that.
Yeah, that's when the crowd goes nuts and the riot begins. Get out of there. you don't want to be around. There's this article that popped up, and I almost added it to the show tonight, and I was like, yeah, does it fit? Does it not fit? But it's talking about that exact thing, sort of that concert experience where people kind of come into a moment and they experience it together, and it changes lives. You know, some people, it's like their favorite artist. Some, you know, maybe they don't come to their city often, this type of thing. Or, you know, maybe they're seeing them for the first time and they just like their music has inspired their life, this type of thing. But it's like this collective energetic experience that is, well, you know, dare I say magical? I don't know. Like I'll dig into that another time, but I almost added it to this, but what you're saying kind of made me remember that maybe I should have now, but fire stuff as always. What else you got? Go ahead.
Another thing too, I was going to say, like, you know, sometimes the reason why I like to get out, like I mentioned in Discord, was I'm a mountain man, right? Always have been. Like even being in the Navy for 14 years, right? Being on the ocean, seeing the stars out like that was incredible. Being on the ocean at night, you know, and it didn't happen a lot because, you know, we're constantly moving and, you know, dealing with a lot of different weathers. But when we were out there, sometimes, you know, I've been out there, you know, we weren't really doing much, you know, just slow maintenance, you know what I mean? No ops or nothing. And you just get to stand out there and, you know, there's no clouds nowhere. And it's just all the stars. And it's like, but there's no light out there. You know what I mean? It's pitch black. So that was pretty awesome. I could say that. But like even being in the desert, it's the same thing, you know. I don't know. I think it's a little different too, though, because I felt like when I was in the desert a couple times, you know, with no light, you know, being out there, and you could see the Milky Way. You can almost see like the colors, right? You know, the colors of the Milky Way. You know, the clouds and stuff like that. But when I was out over the water, it was just more like it was pitch black, right? It was more like it was just black and like billions of stars, though. It was just billions of them. You could see like all the stars. You know what I mean? Not part of them or some of them. You've seen all of them.
Yeah,
that was pretty incredible.
It's that connection to the sky, and I think you're narrowing it down for me. I couldn't really explain why the desert sky is so gorgeous, and that's part of it. Is that there's not a lot of the city lights. Right? It's very easy to kind of, even Vegas, right? The city of lights or whatever. It's easy to kind of get outside of it with just a quick short drive because there's not all the surrounding, you know, infrastructure of multiple cities stacked on each other and big freeways and all the lights and stuff. But you're onto it. So I'm going to be able to piggyback on what you said there and eventually describe to the people who've never been to a true desert and looked at that magical sky, because there is something about sort of that connection to the void where you can see all of it. Like you said, it's incredible. It's an incredible thing. And like I said, it's what's drawn me here. And like I said, without that energy, that Mars-like void in the sky, there's no troubled minds. Certainly I owe, not just the show and these conversations, of course, all you guys, all you amazing people have been friends for a long time, but the energy here in the desert that it called to me, and I called back, and here we are. Anyway, go ahead, sir.
No, it's a beautiful place sometimes, man. I can't stand that heat in the summertime. You know what I mean?
Amen.
You guys can keep it down there. But that's why, like, that's why in the mountains, I can, you know, like another difference is being like on top of like 10,000, 11,000 feet. You know what I mean? You're camping out in the middle of nowhere, right? It's just you and nature out there too. That was another one that's what I liked. There was one time we got stuck up there. Our tent blew over, right? So we were just stuck underneath it. We were about ready to fix it, but then next you know, it just started raining, thunder and lightning. Wham, man. That was like, so we just laid there. We just stood there, you know, like kind of like in, you know, on our butts, you know, with our knees, Indian style, and then just sat there until the rain stopped. That's all we could do. At least we weren't getting wet, you know what I'm saying?
Amen. I feel you. Hey, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. When Mother Nature says now, you say yes, ma'am. Absolutely. We'll wait. We'll definitely wait. Yeah, it's a wild thing. So you're a mountain man, and what about the magic of being drawn to these places? And is it another sort of Carl Jung archetype of ourselves, or is it something that kind of changes and flows as we age or whatever? Were you always a mountain man, or is this something that kind of developed as you aged a little bit? What's your take there?
I kind of look at that too, because with my native side, right? So my whole family came from like northern New Mexico into Utah, Colorado, right? And we're all through there, and it was just always been drawn to me, even in the Navy. Like I said, I've been on both East Coast, West Coast, in the middle of the country, right? Been north and been to Alaska. I lived there. It's just everything is just a little different. You know what I mean? Alaska was it was like that type of mountains up there was like alive. I don't know how to explain that one, but that one was incredible. And there is a difference between the mountains and the forest, because when I was stationed in Maryland, in southern Maryland, when I got to the East Coast, probably like around Virginia, West Virginia, right, and like Pennsylvania and Maryland, man, I have never seen. I mean, I've seen some woods, because I was firefighting like up in Idaho and stuff, but like that type of stuff over there, and how big those trees were, they're all old. That was incredible to me. I was like, man, that was pretty intense, because the energy off those trees and how they all in that age too. Like I've been to the sequoias too, who were up there in California, and that that's old energy right there.
Yeah.
But they say like with trees too, you want to. The pine trees are the ones that have a lot of energy. That's why they tell you when you want to hug a tree or whatnot, that would be it. That gives you,
the redwoods.
Go ahead.
The redwoods, yeah.
Yeah, redwoods.
Oh, yeah.
I've never been there yet, Mike, but I want to do that one. Me and Michelle want to check that one.
Dude, so my brother lived there up in Humboldt County, and there is, like you said, old energy. It feels like in many of those places, it feels like you're in Jurassic Park, like in some primordial space. And it wouldn't shock you if like a velociraptor, like it just peeked around a tree and looked at you. I mean, that's how incredible it is. These massive ferns and these massive trees and the mist and the smell of weed in the air. I'm just kidding on that, but because it's known for it's known for the people growing the green up there. But
oh yeah, Humboldt County.
Yeah, absolutely. But even funny. Just a quick funny story on that. My brother was telling me that he living out there on the local radio, they would give updates on where the DEA helicopter was, so that the people could cover their crops to hide it from them. Like they would do it on the radio, like a live update. The helicopter is headed west from the highway, right? So people would tune in to the radio to like hide their stuff.
I bet
it's so crazy. Anyway, but that's the joke side. But I'm telling you, there is a primordial energy there in those redwoods. If you guys have never been there, oh my goodness, it is it's indescribable until you stand in that mist and the massive ferns and the massive trees. It's so crazy. I highly recommend it. It's incredible.
Yeah, that reminds me, like even the northwest up in Seattle. That's like a jungle itself. You know what I mean? With all there's constantly that mist. A lot of moss on everything, big ferns. That's another place that's like that. But even in jungles, I have never been in a deep jungle, but imagining that, like, South America or even Africa, someone, in the Congo, that would be, man, imagine all that. And then hearing all the animals and birds and the other, everything just mixing in one thing at one time, just like, that would be, I can't wait to actually do that.
Let me know when you do. Let me know when you do. Love to hear it. And maybe, just maybe, we can coordinate. Maybe I'll meet you up there. Would love to do that.
No doubt. Just thinking about that, man, it was giving me chills. I mean, just like, because I've been around some birds. Like when I was in San Diego, there were some, parrots that come up from Mexico. We had there was like a group of 5 of them. and I have recordings of them, right? But that was just awesome too. But being in nature, I think, because we are man and woman of this planet. You know what I mean? We are part of this planet. That's what I always say that, we have conversation about this too, is that, we don't even ground ourselves anymore. You know what I mean? It's always, different types of shoes. And then that's what they do. They're making it, fashion, everything's all fashion now. So, all these people that own 300 pairs of shoes don't even wear them. You know what I mean? With that type of stuff like that. You know what I mean? We're out of tune with nature. You know what I mean? We're like a boxed animal that's inside of a cage. That's when you come into big cities like that.
Yeah, and then throw those shoes away into a landfill or into an ocean or something. It's horrific. Fashion is one of those things that doesn't get enough bad rap because it's a super bad rap for the planet. But hey, keep buying that new stuff for every season. It's all fine. And the stuff that doesn't sell for the season, we'll just throw it in the ocean. It's all good. It's all good. Let's get out of here, brother. Final thought.
Oh man, that's it. I just wanted to say, like I always say, throw my 2 cents in there But it's a good show tonight, man. You guys have a good night.
And fantastic call. Always a pleasure. Tell Michelle we said hi and look forward to meeting you at the Redwoods sometime. Have a great one, man.
All right, brother. You too.
Thanks a lot. Kelly in Colorado. If we ever had a caller the first caller that called back and has been a good friend for a long time, that's Kelly. Absolutely brilliant guy. And a lot of ways to look at the world. Like I said, the reality tunnels. Look, we can use reality tunnels as a way to divide us. But recognize what we've done as part of this group. And again, it's all credit to you guys for recognizing and reciprocating the energy. Is that, look, reality tunnels are fine, okay? It's a part of the human aspect. However, the wild part about it is when you share reality tunnels, you enrich experience. It doesn't have to be this or that. It could be many things. And that's the point. That's always been the point. Like I said, as I get older, as I start to get a little more wise, as they say, that's what this is about. It's about sharing those ideas and not cutting people off because they're wrong and you're right, or vice versa. It's silly. It's silly energy. Like I said, I can't recommend it enough. Living there would creep me out because, by the way, in the Redwoods, everything is just like a swamp. It's like the opposite of, like a Florida type swamp or like a DC type swamp. That level of humidity, it's like mold in the air. Like that's how ancient this feels. If you've ever, I highly recommend it. If you've never been to the Redwoods up in Northern California, there's mold growing everywhere because of all the moisture and fog in the air. It's crazy. Anyway. Please check it out. If you've never been to Washington, D.C., highly recommend it. All the rest of that stuff. Yeah. Anyway, so if you want to help troubled minds help our friends, that's exactly the point of this. The whole point of doing this show from the very beginning was to make friends, was to talk about wild ideas with regular people and see if this had any legs. And, stretching the envelope of that conversation and those ideas. Like I said, my dreams have come true. I think we've certainly succeeded with that. But let's grow together. Help our friends. troubledminds.org/friends, or click the friends link. There's a lot of people on there that you should be following. Please, please, please. Most of them are free. YouTubes or whatever's they're doing. And there's some people selling some books. So let's help our friends. And if you're going to spend some scratch, spend it on them. Don't spend it on me first. But if you do want to help Troubled Minds directly, there's the support link too. You can send it. Don't send money to Rockfin because they've rug pulled. I will pull that off eventually here. I just am up to my neck in all the things because I wish I didn't have to sleep. I would stay up all night updating everything and coding new things, but unfortunately have to sleep. I do have to sleep. Anyway, help our friends. What's the thing? The support link at troubledminds.org. Spread the word. If you want to help, the easiest way is to spread the word. Let people know a conversation is happening where it's not about the political narratives. It's not about binary division politics and nonsensical clown world inversions. It's about what it means to be human. Who's talking about that anymore? Which really gets us to the heart of where we started tonight. That's it. That's the way I see it. Appreciate you guys very much. Thanks for being part of this. Thanks for caring. Thanks for dealing with my BS, all my imperfections. As we finish, it goes exactly like this. Be sure, be strong, be true. Thank you for listening. From our troubled minds to yours, have a great night.